I'm also gonna have to cut out a little early.
What?
Like
That's
30
fine. We'll
minutes or
forgive
so.
you.
Okay.
We'll
Man.
forgive you this one time.
I've already forgiven you.
Somebody
even though
in
I
the
almost
neighborhood.
canceled the stream.
Oh man.
What's happening in the hood?
Somebody in the neighborhood caught the vid.
We are live, by the way, just FYI.
Oh, that's fine.
Oh, someone's got the vid?
Okay.
In the neighborhood, and which
Which
you know, it happens. It happens, yes. But they were gonna host big 4th of July thing for, you know, the neighborhood and our friends and stuff, and so now we're having to pick that up. And
you're taking on the neighborhood party,
or
yeah.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Which I mean, I'm saying neighborhood sounds bigger than it's bigger than what we would normally throw.
Yeah.
I think if everybody who has said they're gonna actually shows up, it's like 35 people. So
I mean, that's still pretty decent.
That's pretty decent. Yeah,
35 more people than I'd want in my house.
We've come to an understanding, my lady and I, about, because like when we first moved in, holy cow, man, we went to like gatherings, like it was like every weekend for like 2 months. Somebody was doing something. I burn out. Yeah, man, I can't do it. And so yeah, we had
a long time.
That's it. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. I agreed to like these 2 back-to-back dinners, or, you know, that kind of thing. And I'm like, hey, you know, warning helps, but like, yeah, two dinners where it's like 6 or 8 even people coming together is like, okay, I can't do nothing next week.
Sometimes I almost prefer just to have it thrown at me. Like sometimes I just prefer not to be worrying about it all week or dreading it all week. It's just like Jay just goes, oh, by the way, someone's got. You're like, shit. Okay, well,
that's how it often will come up. Is like, oh yeah, tomorrow,
thank you, Mrs. B.
Tomorrow we're doing dinner with so and so, and I'm like, oh. Okay, I can just go.
No, I have to have things sprung on me because I'm like, it's weird. Like everybody that knows me thinks I'm like this super social person, but the truth is, I don't like being around large groups.
Yeah,
like even
extrovert
before the
hermit.
Yeah,
extrovert hermit. That's me. Absolutely.
But the weird thing is, if I go to a convention or something like that, like back in the day, pre-V, not now, but I used to go to conventions and stuff. You would never be able to tell. You would never be able to look at me. I'd be like in the middle of the group, thousands of people around freaking out. But the truth is, inside I was like panicking, and I'd have to go to like a place and just calm down.
I'm worse now.
Every once in a while.
I am worse now. I cannot deal with crowds now. I'm turning into a freaking like a sociopath. I don't like
riding a bike. It's like you get out there and it feels different now. Like for some reason, just because we've been cooped up because of the V so long, it's like I even get in my car and drive somewhere, and it's like I get out of the car and start walking towards a building, and I'm like, this feels weird.
Yeah, it drives me bonkers.
Yeah,
apparently the new V is
monkeypox.
It's resistant to all the vaccines apparently.
Oh crap.
Yeah, well, the problem is I mean, being a coronavirus, it's like it's changing constantly.
Yeah,
right.
The spike protein is no longer identifiable.
Yeah, it changes faster than the flu too. That's the other thing that makes it really wonky. Bugs. Like the flu, you usually get like 3 to 5 strains a year, and they pick like the most prominent one that spreads. It's like with this,
sometimes they get it right
constantly. Yeah. It's like there's got to be 10, 20 strains now. It's pretty wild. So, but the good news is still even if you're not resistant because the vaccine still gives you an antibody boost, which is probably going to keep you out of the hospital. So
yes, exactly.
It's
still worth doing.
A little something helps, right?
A little something.
Totally. Hey Roman, thank you for that $10 super chat, kicking it off. Coffee time. Uh-oh.
That's all I got. That's all I got.
Dude. You scared me with the button.
Good. That like freaked me out. I was like, "What the hell?" Someone's trying to communicate.
I was like, "Are we picking up radio transmissions on our filmings?
Yeah.
What's going on?"
It's RKO. RKO is
RKO.
David, when are you gonna get a soundboard, man? So you can do stuff like this.
Dun,
Isn't
dun, dun.
that cool? Yeah. Wait, hold on. Where's my drum? There we go. That's my little. I gotta remember that one. I gotta use that for all my jokes because people don't get them and they won't
buttons. I'm just gonna get one of those like $45. It's like a 12. It's just 12 keys, and you can just.
I have one.
No. It's just
I couldn't figure out. It was my son's, and I guess he jammed it in the back of his computer at some point, and it screwed up the USB. So I had it plugged in. It was causing chaos on my thing. So I gotta do a little fix.
Yeah. No, you can just
a bent pen or something.
Yeah, you can get these.
Yeah, literally.
It's basically it's like a separate 10 key practically, but
they're
just unlabeled. It's just 12 like keyboard keys, and then they're fully programmable. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's like a little number keyboard.
Yeah. And you can get them pretty cheap.
Like I like the Stream Deck because it has little pictures that you can put on the keys because each key is like a little screen.
Yeah.
I mean, the truth is it's one screen behind there, but they don't want people knowing that. But it's the buttons are just capacitive on the bottom. So like when you push them, they touch. It's like you touching it with your finger. But no, I like it because you can put like little graphics and little animations on it, and you can even change the state. So you can have it like pushed and unpushed on the graphic.
Right.
So you can toggle stuff, and it's like having little toggle switches. So I mean, I don't know how much they are now. I know prices on electronics were just
like $120. They're still pretty. They're still pretty.
I
was surprised for like for a bunch of buttons. It does seem a little bit.
Yeah.
That does seem excessive. I know they make a 6-button one. I don't know how much that one costs, but they make like a little itty bitty 6-button one that you can just set next to your keyboard. And the thing is, you don't need the 15 buttons because they have this thing called chords, so you can like push multiple buttons, or you can push a button and go into a subfolder. So you can basically turn 6 buttons into like 45 buttons. If you want
that'd be kind of cool.
Remember those old keyboards? The old keyboards, they were trying to get people to used to those. The idea of like different combinations to do the typing. So you can do like a single-handed chord.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen that where you can type on one hand, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like a stenographer thing for one hand.
There's so many different combinations that you can, if you're willing to learn them. Of course,
that's the problem. And I found this this is actually like something that I discovered that hopefully I can save you guys a lot of money by this. Is all the split keyboards that have like the weird like Dvorak layouts and the keys are slightly off and ortholinear where there's like no offset between the keys. Well, I've tried them all. I've tried them all. I went through my whole keyboard puberty or whatever, if you will, where I just went painfully through every keyboard.
This one's bad, man. I want one of those.
Yeah, that's the thing. So this is my keyboard. I don't know if you see it. This is Kinesis Freestyle Edge. It's basically a regular keyboard just sawed in half. And so you can put the halves wherever you want and orient them however you want. But the cool thing about that is you don't have to relearn how to type. It's just like typing on a regular keyboard. You're just separating the halves. Everything down to the space bar is the same. The problem is I've tried typing on an ergonomics before, which is those are cool keyboards too, split keyboards. But the way that they do the thumbs for the enter and space bar. Here's the problem. You get used to them and then you go back to a regular keyboard like you have on a laptop, or if you go to a friend's house and use their computer or something, you can't, it slows you down. Once you learn the new one, you can't, that's the thing they never tell you is it's really difficult to learn like 5 different keyboards and be able to seamlessly go between them when the keyboard layout's different.
Right.
So I even got like a $300 plus or whatever ergonomic like fishbowl keyboard.
Like those are fun.
Yeah. And so the fastest I could ever type on it was about 30 words per minute. And then I went back to a regular keyboard and I lost like 40 or 50 words per minute speed on the regular keyboard. And it took me like a day to acclimate back to it. And I was like, nope, I'm not doing this anymore. The only reason to get a keyboard like that really is if you have like carpal tunnel or you have some disability. But then it makes sense because it's like, that's the only keyboard you can really use.
Yeah.
So, but when you're used to typing on a regular keyboard and stuff like, it's really difficult to learn something like fancy like that and then go back to a regular keyboard. So, wouldn't recommend it, guys. Hey, how's everybody doing this morning? It looks like we got about 132 people in here. They're still pouring in.
What?
Yeah,
that's not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all. They're gonna find their way in here. And Roman kicked us off with the $10 super chat for a coffee. So he gave us a quarter of a gallon of gas. So
nice.
Oh man, so yeah, we got the 4th of July coming up in 2 days, don't we, boys?
Monday, yeah. So
Monday. We've done our Canada Day thing, so we're sort of done now.
When is Canada Day?
How's that work?
I don't remember. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. Wasn't it?
You don't even
true Canadian fashion. We don't even freaking know.
And we're not going to decide
together. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
We're like July.
There's a bunch. It's like a bunch of stuff all back to, and then Bastille Day is like the 13th, I think, something like that.
But in typical Canadian manner, we're not even sure we should be celebrating it. Like we're like, I don't know. Like we came in, we took all the indigenous land. Like, should we really be celebrating Canada? We're like a sorry day. Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
Exactly.
Sorry.
My son had.
Wait, what is Bastille Day? I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is.
French independence.
Storming the Bastille.
Yeah, so you guys celebrate waving the flag every time a war starts.
I think that's the. Oh yeah, that's the Steam Deck. Stream Deck. Yeah,
it's nice, but it's expensive.
It is. It's silly. It's silly.
I mean, I got to set it up. Unless
you're an influencer and they send you a bunch of them.
No, man, I got to find out the manufacturer and just buy them from Alibaba.
No, you got to do it. You got to make your
unbranded one.
Make your own with that.
That's even more expensive. Get out of here, man. Do you look, man? Okay, so my buddy Maple Syrup Mods, he's Canadian. He's out of Ottawa, I think.
Sweet,
more central Canada. And
he does our nation's capital.
He does great like custom PC builds and stuff, like for companies to like show off stuff, right? And he started to dabble into keyboards now. And I'm like, man, no, don't go toward the light. Like, don't. And it's too late. It's
like making his own keyboard?
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
he's starting to get into that. And
that's what Bass is doing.
Oh, man. It's like getting back into Warhammer. That's just
too
expensive.
Yeah. We're going to a keyboard users meetup.
That's great.
We're
That's
literally
cool,
we're going to the library, the main downtown library in Toronto, because there's a keyboard users meetup.
Oh,
I don't know
cool.
what it is. It's like August or something. But I was laughing that we're going to go and actually probably enjoy ourselves.
I would love to get in. I would love to build my own like custom keyboard with the cool keys and like different switches and stuff.
Yeah.
But holy cow, man, it's like $150 just for like a blank board, and then it's like $60 for switches, and then another like $45 for keys. Yeah, it's insane. But man, there are some really cool like split layout like that, and then like just super bare bones,
and all the unicorn vomit. I love all the unicorn vomit.
But man,
oh yeah,
it's just I can't justify spending even on some of these really fancy. Like there's some really nice boards and stuff you can get out there, but I can't justify $250 for a keyboard. I almost didn't buy this $80 keyboard that I got at PAX 5 years ago. I almost didn't want to buy that.
Dude, you see how cheap mechanical keyboards are getting now? I saw one for $25.
Yeah.
For like an actual mechanical clicky keys. And I was like, wow, I remember back when they were $150 like minimum.
Yeah.
Like back in the what's that DOS keyboard days? Remember the old DOS keyboard?
Oh yeah,
DOS keyboard. Yeah, I had like I think 3 of them each generation, and I want to say the cheapest one was like 120 or $140.
Yeah,
and it's like I don't know if they're still around and they're still making them, but it's like now I look at mechanical keyboards and it's like so many people make them. It's like 3D printers now. They're basically just free.
They're also I love the sound of them, but they're fucking irritating when you're trying to stream.
That is true. That is true. Like you guys can hear everything.
Yeah, whenever I go to do something on this stream, I'm always like, maybe I should.
You make silent mechanical keys though. What is it like? Cherry MX, like whites or something, where they have reds, and then you put the little ring on the bottom, the little gasket, and then it deadens out the sound when they bottom out.
Yeah.
$500 for an Alice board. Holy
this guy. He was saying he put together his own custom Alice layout keyboard.
For $500, every keyboard would be like a high resolution screen.
Right, it's nuts.
For $500, that's how I'll come there and type for you.
Hey, what was the name of that keyboard? It wasn't Razer. There was a company that was selling a keyboard where every key was a screen. Do you remember that? I want to say it was like $1,200. This is a long time ago too. This would have been back in like the mid 2000s. Right. And I want to say it was like $1,100 or $1,200 every single key. And people said it sucked too because it was like chiclet keys and they didn't feel good to the touch. It was just the gimmick of having every key be its own screen.
I'm a sucker for gimmicks.
Yeah, and you can still find them. I think on eBay. I think I saw one sold on there for like $450. But still, you're like for a keyboard that doesn't feel good that nobody likes typing on just because it looks cool. Like that seems a little weird, and plus that thing's gonna break like all the time with that many screens and stuff. You're gonna have dead pixels and it's not gonna be good.
That's so true.
Optimus Maximus is somebody saying Optimus Maximus?
Yeah, no, there are some cheap DIY keyboards because there's ones that you can 3D print the housing for, and you can get the board from what is a PCBWay or whatever. You can buy the prefab board because so many people buy them and they just have it. They're already rigged up to make them.
Yeah.
I think you can buy the board or something like that for like $60 or $70 and the switches and then 3D print the case. So you might be like by like $120 to build like a split mechanical keyboard. And that's not bad. Like that, honestly, that's not bad to get like your own keyboard that's your own color and it even looks 3D printed, which is desirable now.
I'm just of the school. I guess I'm so freaking old that the keyboard is like an afterthought. Like I've got PCs built and then gone like, oh, how do I type on it?
They don't build keyboards like they used to though. Like, have you seen how much Model M's are going for now? Like original Model M's.
Oh, dude, yeah, the old IBM Model M's are expensive.
You used to be able to, you couldn't give those things away back in the day. Nobody wanted them. Everybody wanted membrane keyboards, and everybody was like, "Oh, lighter touch and smaller form factor." Nobody wants that big 5-pin DIN connector. Now you go on like eBay and stuff, and those things are selling like $150, $200.
Well,
someone was saying they're 3D printing. Was it the ACB 127 says they actually printed their own Ergo keyboard?
Yeah, sure. you actually can. There's quite a few keyboards where you can print out the casing. You can't print, obviously, you can't print the circuit board, right? But you can print the case and then you can print the keycaps. So you don't have to buy a keycap set, but also printing keycaps. God, that's got to be the most monotonous, long process ever.
That's so true. Yeah.
And honestly, I wouldn't want to do it unless it was on like an SLA printer where it was like super high resolution stereo lithography. Because having all those little ridges and stuff on the keys,
that's true. So you kind of want to do the resin. You'd want to do like a resin print of the whole thing anyway. Although the resin print would do it pretty quick, wouldn't it?
Dude, resin printers are cheap now. Have you seen how much like you can get a resin printer for $200 now?
Yep.
They're so stinky.
And they're really good. They're really good.
They're stinky. You need a space.
They are stinky. They're a mess. If you've ever gotten resin on your hands, like soap doesn't even get it off. Like wear gloves. If you ever work with a resin printer, wear gloves, especially if you have like the form resin. The form resin that's that UV reactive laser resin, not the stuff that just uses a screen, but it uses a UV laser. That stuff, oh my God, I dropped like a tiny drop on the carpet. And just from the ambient light in the room, within like 20 minutes, it was rock hard embedded into the carpet. I had to cut it out with scissors. And there's no dissolving it. Like you can pour all the alcohol in the world on it. Once it sets, it will not dissolve. It's like chemically resistant plastic. It's weird.
Right.
What am I getting back into 3D printing? Krillin said, hopefully sometime. But the thing is, like, I mean, 3D printing hasn't changed all that much in the last couple of years, but it's just crazy. My newest 3D printer is like 6 years old.
Right after like, Codegasm comes back.
Yeah, Codegasm needs to come back first, obviously.
First Codegasm and then that. Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I want to thank some of these super chats. The APC, thank you for that $2 super chat and sharing that you made the 3D printed Ergo keyboard. Oh, he said he made it for $45. How'd you do that?
That's what I'm saying. $45.
I didn't see the $45. Wait, here, he's got to tell us more in chat. How did you get the printed circuit board in the switches for $45? Like, was it like a package deal or something? That's got to be.
That's just what it costs in filament.
Hey, Jim's in the chat. He said, I got a printed tiny wang. You know I will, buddy. Here, that's
so true.
How do I make him a moderator? Here we go.
Is he not a moderator already?
Jim the Evo is now a moderator on my YouTube channel.
Yeah, but then he sets fire to your house and steals all your people.
That's what he did to Gimpy. Yeah, he literally, I have it on good authority. He set Gimpy's house on fire.
Jim the Evo has also just got a new lab. He's just been hired to run his own lab at Georgia U. Is that right? Did I get that right?
Who the hell would trust that guy with a test tube?
Me because he's already said I can come and visit. So
hey Jim, what are you doing in that lab over there? You working on the next Viagra or something? Like we want to know. He just likes fire.
I like fire.
Oh my God. Simink, thank you for that $2 super chat. He said my Alice board with everything was about $5. Oh, that was the $500 one. Oh my God, dude. That's just
what ridiculous. Is the Alice board? I've even heard of these things.
I don't know what the Alice board is, but it better like freaking make you dinner and stuff like for that price.
It better put out.
Data Doctors, thank you for the $15 super chat. He said, I made it. Happy 4th of July. A little early, but thank you. We appreciate that, man. And Simink, thank you for another super chat. That was awesome, dude. Oh, that's why I didn't see. He said he made the Alice keyboard, and then he did another super chat where he said it was $500. I was like, oh my God, dude.
And they're just like it just looks like a bit like an ergonomic one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the layout. It's how the keys are arranged.
Like a lizard man.
I want to see old Aux get into the 3D printing. I want to see him fire up that old Ultimaker 2 and crank out some PC parts.
Yeah, man.
I got I answered a tweet the other day about there's a guy who runs it's like an assistive tech project where you can print out controller things for people with disabilities so they can use their so they can game. And like I'm all over that. So I was gonna I want to fire up the 3D printer and get some of that stuff done.
You should. I mean, the thing is, like, 3D printing is more accessible than it's ever been. And I keep hearing people go, oh, it's a gimmick. We've been saying it's a gimmick for like 3 years. There are so many products now that they didn't even take it to manufacture. They're just 3D printing it. Like, there's a whole dude that has like a Nerf. Have you seen the Nerf gun arsenal?
Oh, yeah.
What's that guy's name? I can't remember. But Joel telling a 3D printing nerd goes over there all the time and does videos with this guy. And he makes like these really high powered Nerf guns. And they're all 3D printed. His entire operation is just like 100 Prusa Mark IIIs just cranking out parts.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Cool. And I think that's cool that people are actually like they don't even need to go to China for the manufacturing. They can just buy the printers from China.
Well, people are making... And people are making money doing it too. I mean, that's the other thing, right? I mean,
it's profitable now.
Uncle Jesse was talking about printing some stuff as well that he was doing.
Yeah, my neighbor has a print farm of all things. Like I got him into 3D printing like a year or two ago. I loaned him a 3D printer. No, I gave him a 3D printer. I gave him one of my old ones, and he started printing. I found out the other day he's like on his 12th 3D printer, and like 9 of them are SLA resin printers, and he's just cranking out stuff and selling it on Etsy. And what's
he selling?
I think it's like little D&D characters or something, like Warhammer, Warhammer characters or something like that.
Yeah.
But he has
tiny wang.
Yeah, exactly. Making tiny wangs. But he has a friend that he partnered with that like 3D models the stuff, and then he prints them off. And so I haven't gone and looked to see like exactly what it is, but he brought over a little sample and he like showed me one of his little things that he printed. It looks really good. It looks like an injection molded part, like the parts that are just coming right off of these printers.
So show them off, and then get them to in exchange to send you a bunch of tiny wangs or something.
Just get a bunch of tiny wangs from him. Yeah. It's just, you know what feels weird. And he's told me, he said he'd be happy to print out anything or partner with me on anything. But the thing is, it's so weird having like your neighbor run a print farm to 3D print you stuff when what you're known for on YouTube is 3D printing, and you have like 8 3D printers. It's like at that point, it just seems weird to like outsource that.
You've played it, and now you've extended the joy to someone else. I mean,
yeah, it just seems like somebody who has like a Lamborghini Aventador or something like that, and they're like, yeah, I don't want to get it dirty. I'm gonna go borrow this guy's. You know, it just seems weird, man. There's just something weird about it. It's like, oh man, I got all this equipment, but I'm gonna go to my neighbor's house and use his instead. It's just, I don't know. See, it seems weird. The thing is, I got to get back into making because I have like when I went out in the garage, it's like my garage is destroyed. You can't even walk around in it. But it's like I have that CNC machine, the little mini CNC machine that can cut like all the way down to like PCBs. It can do like really fine work.
The little prover one?
Yeah, it's no, who's it? Inventables. It's the Inventables part. So it's the one that's all closed in. It's super quiet. You can run it just like that's its selling point. Is it's super quiet and it's super clean because it's all enclosed. But it's not super powerful. You're not going to be like milling aluminum blocks and stuff with it. But like for doing those printed circuit boards or whatever, where you just like carve off the surface or whatever to make the circuits, it can do those. I made a video where I made fidget spinners out of all kinds of different like polyethylene and stuff and wood. So it can
I love the little CNC stuff.
Yeah, it's like I have one of those and I haven't used it in years and years and years. I'd love to get that back in the rotation. I have a couple large format 3D printers. Most of them are like the medium format 3D printers. I got a Delta, I got a Cartesian, I got the Form 2, which is slower than shit, but still prints 10 micron. So by today's standards, that's still a super high resolution printer. It's just slow because it uses a laser instead of curing a whole layer at a time.
Right.
So it's like this stuff's all still like relevant technology. You know, even though it's a little bit on the older side, and it's like it'd be fun to like get back into manufacturing again, just like inventing stuff,
right?
You know,
but that's the thing is, it's like to me, it's like in a way, the actual process itself is less interesting than what the skills you really need. And this is what was happening with the kids, with the Tech Bandits kids, is they're like we're doing 3D printing at school, and it's like, well, so we're just printing stuff that is already made. The skill is in designing the stuff. Who gives a crap what your 3D printers are going to do everything for you? By the time they're actually making something that's worth any money, they'll be, the systems will handle everything for them. There'll be no skill to 3D printing. It'll be like saying like I print things on paper.
And not only that, but you can 3D model stuff that just doesn't print right. Like even though a 3D printer can print like really sophisticated stuff you couldn't even mill on a machine, there's people that just model stuff where it's like good luck trying to get that thing to 3D print without failing and looking like crap.
It looks great, but
so one of the nuances of 3D printing is like designing a model that prints, like you've seen the ones with like live hinges and stuff. People print stuff and it's like, a very like I printed a scissor lift with like 20 moving parts on it that printed as one piece.
That's cool.
Really?
Like somebody designed, it prints as a block, and it just does weak bonding between the joints with like little tiny piece of filament. So you just grab it and you just torque it a couple times to break all the joints free, and then you turn the knob and it's actually a screw gear. Wow. And it all works. It just works right off the printer. I printed a wrench that worked where I did a video and I took a battery out of my car using a 3D printed wrench.
Wow.
Like it's cool technology. Like when you can 3D print stuff that somebody could just print off their printer and it just works with minimal assembly.
Yeah.
I think that's like the coulest thing ever. Like that I can do all day long. And plus parametric models are cool too.
I fixed the odd thing around the house with like a light bulb that was missing a little piece, that kind of stuff. Yeah. But even that takes freaking effort to get right. You're iterating and iterating and iterating. Like I think I printed like 5-6 things to get it to the right size.
Yeah, that's the thing is like you can calibrate 3D printers. Like people never do. People always just take them out of the box and run them. But you can calibrate a 3D printer. All you got to do is like print this little cube and then measure it with a little micrometer. And you just input the variables, like the adjustment variables or whatever, into whatever slicing software you're using, and then everything that prints out will be like really, really accurate within like 1/10 of a millimeter. It's like super accurate.
I've never bought so many calibers in my life. I've got inside calibers, outside calibers. It's like, whole thing.
You need them for 3D printing if you're printing stuff that requires accuracy. Like even gears, you can get away with quite a bit of what do they call it, lash or whatever. The spacing between the gears or the meshing, you can get away with like quite a bit on most like geared things, but to get something that's like precision printed with gears, it usually takes quite a few attempts to get them to mesh perfectly. And then sometimes you'll just print them and you'll just run it super hard with a drill until it like melts the surface of the gears, and then they mesh together like flawlessly. But No, 3D printing is awesome. I would love to get back into 3D printing again. I'd love to see Aux do some 3D printing because I don't you haven't even printed anything yet, have you?
Nope.
Dude, once you do, it'll hook you. I guarantee you it will. I guarantee even if you just print something off of Thingiverse or whatever site of the day it is,
it's crossed my mind. I got that giant Be Quiet monster, was a Dark Rock Pro 4 or whatever, the big chunky thing.
Yeah.
And it crossed my mind to do a little ITX build, but inside like a RC car. It'd have to be big. Cool. I'm talking, it'd have to be like, I don't know, 16 scale or something like that. Because I want to have the cooler sticking out of the hood like it's a blower. And then 3D print like a 4-barrel carb thing that sits over the top of the cooler to.
Oh wow!
I think that'd be fun. Make it find a big scale model of like a Camaro or something, and
I mean that seems doable. I mean that said, I mean I spent hours doing this kind of thing, so I was just trying to do. I was trying to get it exactly right to fit in a little plastic box. Like I just wanted a divider for these boxes.
Oh okay. Yeah.
So I mean, but like it was
the box tapers.
I did exactly box tapers. So I'm like measuring the different tapering and then the edges. How do you get the corners right? I mean, it goes on forever.
You should photo scan the box so that you have a 3D model of it.
Yeah,
and then you can manipulate it inside of whatever 3D software you're
using.
I
should try that.
Figure the taper out. It'll figure all that shit out for you, and then you can just pick different levels, right? And it'll.
Because I was using photos. I was just using photos and then drawing to the photos.
Yeah. No, I mean your iPhone will do a tremendously accurate 3D scan, and you can load that straight up into like I don't know Form 3D or something. I don't know enough for the CAD stuff. But yeah, you can. There's apps that will. Actually, I think it's actually called Photo Scan.
There's quite a few different apps that do it.
It's a photogrammetry thing, but I think they have an app for.
Yeah, I have like a 3D room or something like that, or 3D something or another. And
you don't even have to use photogrammetry. If you have a newer iPhone, like anything that's like an iPhone 11 or better, if you use the front-facing camera, it's got that infrared projector on it for doing the face scanning. And you can actually get an app where you just turn that around and you just face the phone towards the object and move it around. And it'll use that depth from those light points, like the old Kinect did, to measure things pretty accurately.
Yeah, I've got the 3D scanner app is what I got. And
I think that would work good.
I've been scanning rooms. I've been scanning the room and then moving and then giving Jane schematics that she can then move stuff around to see where things going to go.
Isn't that neat?
And then for fine tuning, you just measure one axis of whatever it is you just scanned and just get that, measure that so it's within bounds in the software, and it'll bring everything else.
But wait a second, you're saying that this camera, that the sensor is on that side, not this side?
Correct.
Yeah,
because it scans your face to log in.
The Face ID thing is actually a really, really accurate like LiDAR sort of thing.
And that LiDAR is more accurate than the LiDAR on the other side.
There's no LiDAR on the other side.
The lasers on the back are for like depth of field and focus and stuff. I don't think they're as accurate.
Oh wait, do the new iPhones have that? Because iPhone 11 doesn't have any IR.
The 12 does. I'm pretty sure the 12.
The 12. I have the 11.
Plus, their AR kit thing is really, really good about like I've seen people just take their iPhone, probably 12s or 13s, and with the front one do full on, like they're doing like location testing and stuff, and they'll just, and then the software can determine like the depth and stuff and create a whole 3D point map out of the whole thing.
Yeah, that's
really powerful photogrammetry stuff. Yeah,
I got to do that because that would be so much easier than trying to do the
that stuff works for really big objects, but you'll find that the LiDAR thing, if you have an app that does LiDAR for small stuff, it'll be way more accurate.
Yeah. Oh, okay. There's cool videos of people like creating busts of their own faces and stuff from it, and trying to trick the Face ID stuff to like, hey, if we scan our boss's face with the phone while he's sleeping, can we print a bust that will trick the Face ID thing and stuff? Yeah,
that's interesting. If you have enough photos, of someone, you can do that, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Even just 2D photos, you feed enough data into a photogrammetry thing, it'll build a 3D point cloud for you, and it'll be incredibly accurate. Yeah, that's really
yes, Jim. I did scan stuff.
Jerry has a bust of me somewhere. It should be around your SG10, the Cube PC of yours.
It's in the bathroom. It's a place of honor in the bathroom.
We attached it, or I put it on the top of it. I know I sent it along with that PC at least. But we were playing around with some early photogrammetry stuff, and I took a bunch of pictures of me just standing all around.
That's cool.
I might still have my 3D printed self somewhere like at the office. It's full of me just like standing there, like kind of with my hands in my pockets. And then we did another print of just like shoulders up.
Yeah, I got one done at a Maker Faire once where they had one of those rigs where it was just like a camera that goes around. It's like on a track and it just goes around you and takes like a million pictures while you hold still. Yeah. And they like 3D printed me like a little model and gave it to me that I have somewhere around here.
Yeah, that's neat.
Yeah. So
the last couple things I've done, they take you to a little tent and it's not thousands, but hundreds of little
bunch of GoPros or something. Yeah.
No, they were actually using. They had little cannons. Like they were like Canon. Yeah, I was amazed. So they had all these old Canon cameras, all rigged up to Raspberry Pis, all networked together, so they could take in one shot. They get everything they need. It's amazing.
As a matter of fact, they used that on what was that movie with Ryan Reynolds, the video game movie? Not too long ago.
Yeah. Fall Guy?
Free Guy.
So on Free Guy, they used a rig where all of the animations they did where Ryan Reynolds was 3D modeled and they did like buff guy version of him. They had him just like sit in a rig, just like you said, where it just had like hundreds of cameras around him, but they were recording video, and then they used the photogrammetry or whatever on the video of so that they could take a 3D model perfectly scanned of him and like layer his texture over it, like it was creating the model and the texture. And it was super high resolution. So like with minimal retouching, they could just pull it right into the movie and it looked like him. It looked just like him.
So why bother with all this motion capture stuff if you could just be in a booth and do that?
I think it's just because you have to be in a stationary spot. Like they haven't made a room yet. Like when cameras get so high resolution that they can make like a gymnasium that can scan everything within its line of sight.
They must be there by now. And also, why do they even need cameras when they've got all the LiDAR stuff now?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just different. How do you want to capture the data? Really?
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, with the mocap the photos stuff, are good. How does the mocap stuff work? They're just using camelras and like reflectors on the body, right?
Like, cameras, reflectors, and then they also have
it's not even the dots anymore. Like you can just put on a skin suit basically, and it'll you don't even need cameras watching you. Like it helps, I think, but the X Sens suits and stuff like that. It just
that's
captures the data
totally
directly.
DIY in no time.
Yeah, I think I saw a Corridor Digital video where they just had a suit and it was like broadcasting over Wi-Fi. The movements.
They're wicked expensive. We're talking 5 figures, but yeah.
But give them a month. And
for now. You can get cheaper ones. I think it's Xsens X.
I know there's one that's like $2,000.
Yeah, they have a pretty basic one that's like around $2,000. Yeah.
But I know
they can get up into like 20K.
Fingers. It doesn't do like the finger tracking.
Separate. Yep.
But if you've ever seen like Corridor, they have the one where they put on the suit and then they have like an iPhone and a 3D printed rig that points at their face and then they use software to capture the facial movements.
Yeah. Well, that's what we're doing on Rise of the Apes. That was the same thing with with those guys. But they didn't have an iPhone. They were just using a little tiny camera. I
think I've seen that. Andy Serkis do that.
That's what
was Andy Serkis. Yeah.
That's how they did the Avatar too. Same kind of deal. They got
exactly.
They'll kind of a little bit of makeup and then.
But then because you get the emotions and everything as well, right?
I've never looked at Andy Serkis' IMDb, but that's got to be huge. That guy's played like every 3D model character ever done.
It blows my mind. Ever since Gollum, he's like been the guy. It's so cool. Plus, he's like
before that he was a British actor.
Cool stuff.
British actors are in freaking everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And he acts like outside of mocap too, doesn't he? Hasn't he played himself? Like not himself, but
he was in
himself.
Black Panther. He plays the South African.
That's right.
Mercenary guy.
With the arm, the morphing arm, the adamantium arm thing or whatever.
That's later. He does lose his arm.
Something else. He had something else I just saw him in. Yeah, he started directing as well, right?
Yeah. He's directed a couple good movies.
That guy's got some.
It's really cool. Man. Yeah, good for him. He
was so smart though, because he took that, he took the idea of basically he turned a stand-in role.
Yep.
Into a fucking career.
Yeah.
At that time when you were in there pretending to be someone that was then digitally replaced, they didn't mention your name.
Yeah.
And he remember turn it into you know,
he pushed to be the, like, it was originally just a mocap job. Like they just wanted him to do the crawling around and stuff, and they were gonna have somebody else do the voicing and face work and stuff. And I think he pushed really hard to do the whole he's like, no, if I'm gonna do this, I want to be the whole thing. Like I'm gonna talk and I'm gonna do all of it.
You can
and
tell,
it's good.
too.
It's good that he did. Oh yeah. It's great. Oh,
it's
super
brilliant.
cool.
And he created an industry, basically. I mean, that was before that. That was, I mean, Hollywood must hate it because they're like, ah, shit. Now we got to pay the freaking motion cap people as well. But they got to just
at least more. You got to pay him more, right? Because now he's credited and whatnot. But man. Yeah. I'm hearing people say that James Earl Jones was deepfake. His voice was deepfaked for Kenobi. I can believe it. I was wondering if he was still alive.
He's still alive. I heard he actually did it. I don't think that he'd let somebody deep fake his voice. Like that voice is worth a lot.
I could see where they would tweak it a bit though, because like dude's like 90. He's 91. It says. So I can see where they tweak it a little.
Was it Google or was it Facebook that was talking about the idea that these virtual assistants you can give them a little clip of a voice, like it could be like a voicemail, and then you can have it speak in that with that tonation, that like it'll sound like your dead grandmother or whatever the hell they want.
Yeah, both Microsoft and Adobe created that technology like 15 years ago, and they didn't release it because of security.
But then what do you do if you decide like, oh, I want to use the Transformers voice? Bingo.
You could.
Or our voice.
They'd have to sue you because
no one's going to get paid. Well, no, it's just happening. No one's going to pay for it.
It doesn't take much. There's a software called Descript. It's for like transcriptions and podcasts and stuff. You feed them 10 minutes of your own voice and you can type out. You don't even have to speak the podcast anymore. You can just type it all out on your own, and it's really pretty accurate.
They offer a service for advertisements, right? So you can actually have ads being done for you without you actually having to be there.
When I worked at Microsoft back in like 2010, they have inside of Microsoft every couple of years they have something called Tech Fest. It's just for Microsoft employees, and they basically like set up tents and you go in there. It's very security oriented, so people from outside don't come in. But it's basically all the R&D that Microsoft's working on. So like all the stuff that may become a product in the future, but isn't like really close to production. And I remember back in like 2010, I went in there and they had a demo where you could actually walk into a little sound booth. You could just talk into a microphone reading like 2 paragraphs. And it would actually read anything you typed back in your own voice. And it was freaking good. I mean, it's not as good as the stuff you've heard today. Like if you listen closely, you can still hear little hang-ups between words here and there. Yeah. But it was so good. And Microsoft
they're filling those in with ums and ahs too, right? They're filling those pauses in with ums and ahs now, right? So they'll actually have it go,
or just smoothing it out, right? Just smoothing the transitions so that it's like more of a fluid thing. But now it's so good that there's even like inflections and stuff. Like depending on how you punctuate things and stuff, like it'll change the inflection of the voice. Like is it a question? Like, hey, look over there, or hey, look over there. You know, it can like figure that out based on if you do like an exclamation point, a period, or a question mark. And it can also figure out from the context of your conversation and analyzing with AI other conversations of that type, how people may have changed their dialect a little bit based on the subject matter. And so you can get really close to something that's like almost perfectly natural. Like you almost need a computer to be able to identify it's synthetic.
It's funny because it's one of those things. I was joking with a friend of mine the other day, an actor friend of mine, and we were saying like we need to like give these things acting classes because I think they're getting very realistic, but they don't. But they're still just bad soap opera actors.
Right. They don't have that
the nuance. Just that subtle nuance.
It's like when you act, it's like it's really easy to under and overact, right? It's like to deliver something that's believable, it has to feel incredibly natural, but you have to give it just a little bit more because it's being presented in something that's dulled down from your senses. So you have to but not over the top. And there's definitely a nuance there because it's like there's actors and actresses that I watch that you just they don't sell the role at all. Like you're just like you can just tell that they're not that person, right?
He's looking at me.
Every Stargate Atlantis episode I watch, you know what I did is I just fast forwarded through the Rodney part, so it took me like 20 minutes to get through the whole season.
You don't have to fast forward. I talk so fast. It's like watching on fast forward anyway.
I'll be honest. The only episode I ever watched all the way through with you was the one where you're stuck in the jumper with Amanda tapping. I'll be honest. I watched that.
I think we know why you were watching that.
That was the best. That was the best episode ever. I won't say why though. Hey, APC, thank you for that $5 super chat, man. I appreciate it. It said, wait, my friend learned a ton about CAD 3D printing a few years ago, and now he has a CAD design job. That's how it works, though.
Yeah, just play around enough.
That's cool.
Why not?
No, passion will get you everywhere. Like don't get me wrong. I mean, there's like going to school and learning things, getting the degrees and stuff. That will give you a better odd of getting to the top of the stack for the interview.
Yeah.
But like nailing the interview and actually getting hired and being successful, that requires passion.
I don't even know anymore. Yeah, I feel like I mean, ideally both, I guess. But I feel like, I mean, like I'm doing these Google courses, and basically what they're trying to do is just narrow it down to the right people for a job at Google. I mean, I don't want a job at Google. I just want to learn about data analytics. But
yeah, that's what I want to do.
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of, you know, those jobs are like, we're talking about entry level jobs at $100,000 a year. I mean, holy crap.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the thing is, there's still a massive demand for developers, which blew my mind. Yeah, like you'd think that market would be so saturated with this last generation and all the schools just pumping out developers, but no, it's one of those industries where it's like everything is moving from hardware to software as much as possible. Right, because software is way more forgiving, right? Yeah. So it's like people are building devices that are basically just motors and the mechanical linkages, and the rest of the intelligence is built in software. Because then you can just make it do anything. You can tweak anything, where it's like a mechanical item. You know, the way I look at it is kind of like old Nintendo cartridges versus games today. It's like you couldn't release a shitty Nintendo game because you couldn't patch it. Like if you released it and nobody could get past the first level, you were done. Right. You didn't get another chance.
Whereas now you can update.
Right, now you can update. And I feel like with hardware, it's the same way. If you release a piece of hardware and it's like the gear is off by one, or it wears out prematurely, or the mechanism inside of it, like there's all these things that could happen to make it a useless device or make it less effective. However, now you can fix a lot of that in software. Let's say you have a device and after a year, it starts getting some slop in the gear train or something, and it's not making it as accurate. Well, they can go into software and account for that, apply gravity, and do all kinds of little calibrations and stuff to work around that defect. So you can actually improve something over time. Like you could take a piece of hardware that has a lot of like mechanical play in the system, and you can actually make it like very, very accurate by just like taking measurements, calibrating in software, taking measurements, calibrating in software. And then you can get something that has a lot of slop in it, pinpoint accurate, because it can do the algorithm and be like, oh, the arm weighs this much, because the Dexter arm does this. The arm
weighs like, that's what Dexter arm's doing.
Exactly. Right? Even if it has play in the gear train, it'll always be within 10 micron accuracy of its place in
figuring
space.
It out. Yeah.
And the way it does it is because even the arm sags, because the weight, even the carbon fiber arm sags a little bit, that'll throw off the accuracy. So what it does, it uses an optical encoder in one place and an optical encoder in place, and it can figure out the deflection, how much bend is in the system and the gears, and it can actually adjust and feed in little bits of steps into the motors and the harmonic drive to like get it pinpoint placed in space, even with all the play in the system. And then so it doesn't do this. It's got a dampener in it where it like knows how the weight of the arm and how much it's going to overshoot, so it can compensate.
I want to get one of those arms,
dude. They're awesome. Even the first generation one is just absolutely like breathtakingly awesome.
I like their factory concept. The idea of them like shipping out a bunch of arms that you bring them into whatever you're making, and you just start like start automating.
It's absolutely just it's fascinating to watch the thing work. The only reason mine's out of commission is because I blew out the 5th axis servo. And that was my fault, because what I did is one day
I the server though. The server's not that.
I can fix it for like $20. I just haven't. The servo that's in the end or whatever, it's not it's an RC car servo, and RC car servos basically, when they're powered, there's constant force against them. Like internal force against it. So I accidentally left it laying on the table with something connected to that axis, and it was basically the weight of it was pushing against the servo, and the servo was trying to power back to center, and so it just sat like that for like 2 days, and that's what burned the servo out. But the steppers won't do that. The steppers are smarter. This is a dumb servo, right? This one's position is based on like whatever internal optical encoder it has or whatever. This was something that was added as an afterthought, as an accessory. This wasn't one of the axes that actually ships on the robotic arm. So, but you can add anything to it. That's the cool thing, is they like made a pin attachment system, so you can do tool changes on it if you want. You could have different end effectors that have like lasers, or they even had a 3D printer head for it, to where it just come over to your desk and just start 3D printing on your desk. Anything within a 3-foot volume, you could print a castle around. It could go around and print a castle.
What do they go for now? What do they cost now, those things?
I want to say for the kit or something, I think it's like $2,500 to $3,000 for the kit to like build one, and then I think they charge like $500 or $800 to build it if you want like a fully assembled, ready to go.
It's fairly reasonable.
I mean, compared to like the next cheapest thing in the market, like they can do what they can do, it's like not even close. It's like I think it's like $8,000 or $10,000 for something that can even come close to what they do.
Huh.
And they have patents on it too. So even though they open source it, like they'll let you print your whole arm. All the stuff is online. If you want to go 3D print your own Dexter arm, and you can even change the length of the members and everything, and their software can account for it. The problem is by the time you're done building it, it's like just the FPGA board, just one of the boards inside of that thing wholesales for like $400-$500.
Right.
So a lot of that's just the cost of the electronics, and the harmonic drive is like another like $400 or $500. So it's like just the parts to build one yourself, you would only be maybe $400 or $500 under buying like the whole kit with the 3D printed parts.
Yeah,
with
I would get the
carbon fiber rods. It's just not worth
That's
it.
such a long print too. Like it's if I had a farm maybe, but even then they're large components, right?
And plus their 3D printed parts are used that I can't remember the name of the machine, but it's a 3D printer that lays a titanium thread in the material.
Is that the Glowforge?
No, not the Glowforge. That's the scale. That's the
your laser 3D printer.
The laser 3D printer.
It's a cutter.
They call it a
and
3D printer, so that's why people get. It's not a 3D printer. It's literally a cutter.
But it was something like that. It was something Forge, wasn't it?
Forge. That's what it was. Yeah, Forge something. Shit. Somebody in chat will get it. But basically, it has like a spool of titanium wire. And it lays that down like in a crosshatch pattern inside of the plastic, and it ends up
Flash Forge.
That's
it. Thank you, Untidy Tech.
So they use those to print all the parts for the robotic arms. So you basically get a plastic part that's like super rigid, like no deflection or flex in it whatsoever, and it's super strong. They literally printed like a bicycle seat when I was down there, like the bicycle seat post that you could sit on and not break. Try to do that in PLA or ABS, you wouldn't be able to. But they're really expensive. Like that's what. Oh, Marked Forge. That's what it was. Marked Forge, not Flash.
Was
Forge.
it Marked Forge? Oh,
it was Marked Forge because I should know this. I went to their booth at like freaking CES. I mean, it was like 5 years ago, but still, I was like literally at their booth.
4 days.
But it is expensive. That's the reason why only like professional companies usually use them. Is I want to say the machine was like $5,000 to $8,000, and the cost per print with that titanium wire was insane.
I'm looking at them right now.
Are they even more expensive now? It's like $8,000 or $10,000, right, for like a printer.
Let's have a look at it. Let's go to the shop, shall we, folks?
And the funny thing is, they make one without the titanium wire, which is just basically, for all intents and purposes, just a regular 3D printer, and it's like $4,000. So I can't imagine they sell too many of those.
Whoa, that's cool. 3D printers, the Metal X system. Whoa,
I can't see prices.
So
I'm trying to find prices. Oh yeah, there you go. Oh, it's only $19,000.
You need a quote.
$19,000.
So anytime it just says like instead of a price, it says get a quote. I'm like, I can't afford.
I don't even bother.
Oh damn, they make a full metal 3D printing now.
There's a 5,000 Gen 2.
You know what? This is a little mild tangent, but I have this frame. It's the square that my AC condenser came shipped on, right? And it's robust. And I'm like, this would be perfect for like a square D&D, like digital D&D board. It's it's about 3 or 4 feet square, right? And it's all 2x4s. It's very robust. Sure. Cursing or whatever, but nobody sells square LCD panels anymore. Okay. So I'm like, okay, I know that they make them because I've seen enough video walls in my life. I know that they make LED or LCD tiles essentially for massive displays and things. Well, I just want one that's 4 feet by 4, less than that even, because I want it to fit inside the frame of this thing that I've got. Nobody's going to tell me how much just one panel costs. And by the time I start emailing back and forth with these guys about like, hey, this is what I'm trying to do, this is how much it's going to cost.
And then can we call you? Can we have a salesperson call you? Like, no, I don't want to talk. I just want to buy shit.
Tell me, this is what I'm trying to do. You guys are the only people who seem to manufacture square panels.
Yeah.
Just tell me what it's going to cost. It's driving me bonkers, man.
Well, did you see what Linus did with his new house when he called the company that made those modular displays like you're talking about, where you like snap the borderless displays together? It's like to do, I think it was like a 120-inch screen in his room was like $300,000 and required like a special power driver that had to be cooled in a separate room and like a data center rack to drive it. It's like, why?
That doesn't make any sense. It does. Like I get that there's hardly a market for like a square monitor anymore, but like somebody out there's got to sell square displays. Like they're in things. I've seen them, kiosks and stuff. Like, come on.
And they don't have them on like Alibaba or something. They don't have like.
Oh well, I mean, then I wait 3 months to figure out if it's actually
the problem
work
is
or not.
All the square boards require like external driving equipment. Like you have to connect ribbon cables to them and run them with an external driver and stuff like that. So they don't have
just HDMI plug on it. Because they're supposed to be. You're not supposed to use just one panel. You're supposed to use 50 of them to make a big wall or something. And then
they all
two larger
ones
together.
Just do 2 large ones and stick them
the
together.
border though, that's like on traditional displays. There's always a little bit of an edge because the manufacturer it like to the edge.
I'm cool with a bit of a bezel, like that's fine. But isn't there a very square?
I feel like
that's
it'd be
true.
cheaper if you just get a couple of old LCDs. You know,
Yeah, I feel like you just get some
that's what I'll end up doing. Is probably it'll be rectangular instead. But yeah,
I saw a guy who was taking old
stacked thing that's square.
You know, the old Mac, what are they called? The desktop Mac things, what are they called? iMacs? The old iMacs.
Oh, yeah.
With the beautiful high-resolution screens. He's popping those out, buying a controller, and then having them used as flat screens.
Oh, there you go.
They look beautiful.
Yeah.
I was toying with doing it because I've got one here. I'm toying with doing it
that. Pisses me off that they put screens in these all-in-one computers that you can't even buy standalone for like under 10 grand.
Yeah.
Like the Surface. I did a review years and years ago on the Surface Pro Studio. Remember that?
That's
like,
that big one. The big one, right?
I mean, it's not. No, not the super big one. This
no, but the one that looked like a
30
drafting
inches.
table. Yeah, it looked like a drafting.
Yeah, and you could like tilt it at angles and draw on it and stuff. And add like a dial you could put on it. Yeah, you know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So the screen in that thing is a 12-bit. It's a 12-bit 5K display.
Nice.
This is back when 4K was like state of the art. There was no 8K then. And this was a 5K display and it was 12-bit color, which is like absolutely insane at the time. But it had to be driven by the graphics card inside. Like the connection to it was all proprietary by Microsoft. And there's no way to take the panel off and just plug it into HDMI and reuse it. So when your computer was like old, you had to throw away this 5K screen basically.
Yeah.
And
they have the boards. You can buy the controllers now.
You can.
Yeah, you buy them on Amazon. Actually, I was looking to get one. The only issue was that it's still cheaper to buy another monitor.
Oh, okay. Yeah, dude, it is a beautiful screen though. If you see one of those, even by today's standards, it's like a perfectly color accurate 12-bit display.
I've got one sitting. I've got I got an iMac sitting right here, and it's freaking beautiful. Like
So basically similar. Like the Studio, I don't think that one's 12-bit color though. I don't think Apple ever used any 12-bit color stuff.
But still, it's
Yeah, I think doesn't Apple sell like their Pro? Don't they have like a Pro display that's like 30 inches or something like that, or 30 some inches? And I want to say it's like $5,000 or $8,000, and it's like color accurate one.
The price of a child, it's fine.
Which is so dumb. Like
it's just the screen out of the iMac, like slightly overdriven and put like
this bezel-y display. So out of touch on the pricing on that stuff. I think
it's ridiculous.
But people pay that.
I still come back. I know, but I keep coming back. I keep coming back because I'm thinking about getting one of their freaking laptops.
So riddle me this: why does a 5K screen? Why does a 5K standalone screen cost like $5,000 when I can buy a 74-inch 8K display that's like twice the refresh rate for a third the price?
Yeah.
Why is that the case?
It's got to just be the use case. It's just got to be the use case. Like the people they're selling it to are willing to pay that price. Like they're like, honestly, I can't imagine that it costs that much more to manufacture. Like even if it's color accurate, I can't imagine it's that much more.
They're Samsung displays. Like it's not like Apple's making those proprietary on their own.
How many people make panels? How many people in the world make? It's like CPUs. Like every CPU comes out of the same foundries, right?
Three major companies is Samsung, LG, and MicroStar or something. I don't know.
Sony doesn't even make their panels. Doesn't Sony just overdrive?
Maybe it was Sony. I don't know, but I know Samsung and LG are the big guys. I know.
Because now I want to get one of those controllers and get that screen out of there.
The only reason I know that is I did research on screens when I got my screen for my bedroom. Which, by the way, don't buy a Samsung QN 800 or 900. Total waste of money for the 8K display. Just get a 4K.
Yeah, man. Nothing. You don't even have 8K. Like
no, and even if you do 8K on it, unless you're sitting like a foot and a half, unless you're using it as a computer monitor at 74 inches, you're not going to notice the DPI difference.
74-inch monitor. Oh my god, how wicked would that be though?
I don't want to have to turn my head. That's
thinking about
too much.
I feel like that could affect my motion sickness.
No, David, that was actually what I was going to do. So I used to have 3 screens, and I did the LG, but I sent the C ones back because the OLED just did not work with multiple screens. For a single screen, it's okay, but multiple screens, all the power saving and pixel shifting.
You went for 3 74-inch screens? No.
I went for 3. I think there were 45-inch screens, and then what I did is when I sent those back, the plan was to get a 175-inch screen and basically pull my desk out away from the wall, mount it on a stand so that it was just like right at the edge of the desk, and I just have a 174-inch 8K screen for my entire desktop.
What would you get if you were going to buy one now? What would you get?
Well, I was going to get the only one that was really like plausible was the QN 800 and the QN 900, but the problem is there's just too many downsides. Like, even though it has like a mini LED array, full array backlit, which is like the new technology, so you don't get all the blooming and stuff. Any kind of off angle, you get a little bit of color shift, and you get a little bit of blooming. Like straight on, it's like damn near almost OLED. Off by a little bit, nope, you can see the blooming. So if you're sitting this close to it, the problem is your angles to the edge of the screen are sharp. So what you do is you get this big hot spot in the middle, and then it fades off unless you sit at least like 8 or 10 feet away.
So you'd have to have your monitor far enough away.
Yeah,
that you've got. I kind of like that though, because I don't like being so close to the monitor.
Yeah, so I mean, it would work for that. Like if you're like in my bedroom, I have my HTPC that I do all my gaming on and stuff. It's on the 75-inch in the bedroom, and it works. It's absolutely gorgeous. But I wouldn't use it that close to my face just because that technology just isn't right. Like if you're sitting right close to it, like a screen that big, you're gonna want either what is it? Not a TN. What's the IPS? You're gonna want an IPS panel where you can look at off angles. And it's not gonna change like the color saturation and stuff, or you're gonna want OLED. And like I said, OLED for a single screen would be fine, but I don't think they even make a 75-inch OLED. I think they cap out at like 65-inch or something. Do they?
Do LG? LG has a 77.
Oh my god, how much does that cost? That's got to be bank.
3,400.
You're shitting me.
That's
I just went and spent $3,000 on a mini LED backlit display, and you're saying there's an OLED for $400 more dollars?
Best Buy Canada has a 77-inch 4K UHD HDR OLED Web OS Smart TV.
But it's 4K, not 8K, right?
Oh, you wanted 8K? Sorry.
No. I was thinking in my head comparably. That's why my screen was so expensive. It'd be over $1,000 cheaper if it was the 4K model.
Dude, they have an 83-inch 4K.
Jeez, man.
An 83-inch OLED?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my god. The one thing I will say though,
that
I'll totally give to OLED.
$7,000.
If you've ever seen an OLED like close up, there's nothing better.
Really?
Yeah. The only reason I returned the C1s was because when you had 3 screens like I did as a wall, they do this like pixel saving thing where it's like they'll shift the pixels. You can disable it, but they burn in faster and you get that burned in image. And it also changes the brightness. It varies the brightness. So if you move something on the screen, it ramps up the brightness. And then when something doesn't move for a little while, it ramps down the brightness to try to save the pixels on the screen over time. But when you have 3 screens doing that and you move things on the screens at different timings, they all get out of whack with the wallpaper, and it just drove me nuts. My OCD was like freaking out. But if you just had a single screen, I don't think it would bug you nearly as much.
So I could get like a 48-inch 4K, and that would work as my crazy monitor.
100%. And they look, dude, OLED, if you lower the lights on the room, the contrast ratio is unmatched. You will never find anything that produces a contrast ratio like an OLED. It's crazy. The reason I didn't go with OLED in the bedroom though is because my bedroom, I usually have the lights on and stuff because usually my son's in there doing stuff. My wife's usually over there like reading or something like that. So we never turn out the lights really unless we're watching a movie. So I needed a screen that had crazy brightness, and that's where OLED falls flat. Like even the Sony OLEDs, which they overdrive the LG panels and put bigger heat sinks on them, they still just don't look bright at all in a lit room. You turn out the lights, your eyes adjust to it, and it looks super bright and super vivid. But with the lights on in the room, they just look a little washed out. And so with the mini LED backlit TV I have, it's like 2,000 plus lumens or something, 2,000 nits, where like the OLED screen is like 400 or 500. So it's literally like if you turn up the brightness to 100% on this TV I have in the room and it flashes white on the screen, it'll actually make you squint like you're looking at the sun. It's that bright. And so I like that. And it's the first TV I've ever owned where I turned the brightness down to like I think it's like 80%, because at 100% it's too much even with all the lights on in the room.
I just kind of like the idea of like a DIY like wall screen. Like if you get one big enough that could fit behind you on a stream. Yeah, you could do. You could pull things up. You could do. I think it'd be kind of cool actually.
It is fun. Since I've gone big screens, I can't go back to a regular screen.
Yeah,
I can't. Even on my computer upstairs, computer in the room, it's like I've tried going back down to like a 24 or a 30-inch, which is like big for a computer screen. Even the ultra wide screens, like they have one that's like 40 inches wide. It's like my one screen is like that monitor with 2 stacked.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't make sense unless you want that like crazy weird resolution and frame rate and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, which I don't need because I'm just playing. I'm playing Magic with Gimpy G. That's all.
Hey guys, I gotta take a tinkle really quick when we get back. Why don't we hit the topics?
Okay.
The topics.
Okay.
Topics.
That
we
seems
always wait
weird
until
and
the end of the
strange.
show so that everybody can stumble in half drunk in the morning.
That's right.
Before I go,
Most
I
things.
am me. Thank you for the $20 super chat. Sorry I didn't see that. He said, "Oh, come on, Barnacules. You want to see David undress? Amanda is just a bonus. Admit it."
It's true. It is
And
true.
then I was like,
You wanted to watch a damp Hewlett. That's what
it
you
is
wanted.
true. A damp Hewlett is a good
Moist.
Hewlett. I'll tell you what.
Moist.
Damp.
A
Be right back.
moist Hewlett. There you go. The great sweaty moistness.
A
that is Hewlett.
dewy Hewlett.
Dewey Hewlett. I like that.
Dewey.
Yeah. Huey and Dewey. He's Huey and he's Dewey. I watched a film the other day that I don't know why, but I thought you would enjoy.
Oh.
Do you like Wes Anderson?
He did like the hotel one, right?
Yeah.
Grand Budapest Hotel, I think it was. Yeah, that was fun.
He's got a new one out called the French Dispatch.
Okay.
And I watched it, and it's nothing. It's not. His films are never really big about plot.
Yeah, they just seem a little odd.
They're like
I couldn't tell you what Grand Budapest Hotel was about,
but
what the point was. But it's super fun. Great characters and stuff.
Yeah, one of my favorite one of theirs is the it was the family about the family. Someone in the chat will get it.
The Royal Tenenbaums or something.
Royal Tenenbaums. That's it.
Yeah.
Royal Tenenbaums.
Yeah.
That was like one of my favorite movies of all time. This one, I just watched this recent one. It's just such a wonderful study in odd filmmaking.
Yeah.
He has so many different. He's got animation. He's got visual effects. He's got miniatures. He just does everything.
Huh.
It's just I thought it was absolutely gorgeous. Again, I have no idea what it's about. I was like, I don't know what point he's making. I don't know what honestly, it was a bunch of different stories, and yet it wasn't an anthology. I thought it was absolutely beautiful.
Wait, what are you talking about?
The first snippet.
Wes Anderson. He just did this. I just watched his latest film, French Dispatch. You got to be in the mood. You got to be in the mood because it is not a blockbuster by any stretch of the imagination.
It's funny you say that because like the first snippet question on Google for the French Dispatch is what was the point of the French Dispatch?
There is. I do not. You know what it is? But that's kind of why I liked it. It was just like art. It was just art.
Sometimes you don't need a point. I've watched a few movies that way where I'm like, why? Why did you even do this? Like
you have to be. It's when you start doing that. It's like when you start doing that with big films, and you're like, those are supposed to be all about the plot, and you're like, I don't know why. I just sometimes I crave something different, and this was very, very different.
Yeah. Hey, I found that keyboard I was talking about earlier.
Oh, that's cool.
Isn't that weird?
I feel like it'd be a nightmare for fingers salsa,
yeah. This thing, I tried it. I just could never type fast on it. So, but yeah,
is it standard QWERTY?
No, it is, but it's ortholinear, so the keys aren't offset. If you look, they're like all in perfect rows. And it's dished in so that your fingers, your fingers move, but your joints don't change. Like your finger joint right here stays in the same spot. It's just your finger.
Oh my god, that sounds amazing! Like that's half the problem with my arms is these stupid freaking shoulder things.
Yeah, it's designed for people with carpal tunnel.
That's me. I got 2 carpal tunnels. I got a dual lane. Carpal tunnel.
Oh, that sucks. That's the carpal tunnel surgery sucks too. I've been putting it off because it takes so long to heal.
So I got the MRIs done, and then I found out they have this app that all of 4 people use that you can actually download your MRIs and look through them yourself.
Ooh.
Oh, wow. So I was on YouTube watching videos on how to read an MRI scan. And then Jane goes like, "Did you call the doctor?" I was like, "Oh yeah, right. I guess I should talk to the doctor about it as well."
No, your Google search is plenty.
My Google search, I'm like, yep, there's the problem right there, Jane, right there. What does it mean?
This is good.
Yeah. No idea, but I've got fluid all over the place.
As you can tell, see that bright spot?
That bright spot, that's bad. See that little dark spot? Also bad.
Yeah, it's all bad.
What does it mean? I don't know. Get them removed and put on a couple.
It means it's bad.
So Gimpy gave us $5. I didn't see that 23. Did you guys see that?
What is he made of money? That guy?
Yeah, I know, right? I knew he was faking about his house burning down this whole time. I knew it.
You know that his house is being rebuilt right now.
I saw that. Yeah, you posted
pictures of it all being hype.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
It's gonna be so happy to have that back. Like, could you imagine? Like I'm trying to put myself like in his position. Like, what would be the equivalent? Like, just not being able to like get to anywhere because you don't have that crane system without
and he's not an asshole too, right? So he doesn't ask people for stuff. So he's like, I haven't moved in like 2 hours and I'm really uncomfortable and I'm in immense amounts of pain, but I don't want to bug them because they're sleeping. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I'm like, dude, like I'd be whining I do whine all the, I whine about my arms to Gimpy G.
Yeah, I was gonna say I probably whine more than he does, and it's like I can still technically get up and walk.
Maybe it's just because we're really good at it. Maybe he's just not as good at whining as we are.
No, we just married people that tolerate it or ignore it really well.
Well, yeah, Jane just tunes me out at this point. I think that's about it. But no, once that house is redone, they're just gonna like wheel Gimpy G into his little thing, and then it's just like rig him up to like a feeding and cleaning machine, and he's
like
just gonna be streaming.
Like that guy from Ready Player One.
There you go.
He's like in that van. That's it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we had the glasses on, the bungee cords and everything.
Yeah, man. He
needs a van too. He's got no way to get around right now, right? He's still got no way to get around because
so what we need is Gimpy to have like a Neuralink interface tied into that crane system. Ooh. And it could like literally just listen to his thoughts and like move him around, and a Dexter arm could feed him like from a bowl. He could use his mind. Like what was Blade Runner, the new Blade Runner movie where they had that batshit crazy guy that only plays batshit crazy parts. What's his name? The guy who's blind in the movie that like puts on the little neural interface and the little robot do what he wants.
Yeah, what's his face?
He only plays Jared Leto.
Jared the Savior Leto, right?
God,
yeah,
he only plays like batshit crazy, weird, cringy characters.
Because he's like Jared Christ. He's like some kind of weird. Doesn't he have like his own cult and stuff?
Yeah, I was gonna say I definitely get cult vibes off him,
dude. He's like, he's. I mean, I wish he was a better actor, but I find him. He's really good in some things. Then other things, you're just like, what do you do? Like, I didn't like him in Blade. Did you like him in Blade Runner? I didn't like him. I thought Blade Runner was a bit like.
No, I thought it was cringy as shit.
Yeah.
So
I don't remember.
But I loved him in Dallas Buyers Club.
Oh, of course, Dallas B says I love Jared Leto.
Well, Dallas Buyers Club was amazing.
I haven't seen that one.
Of course, Mrs. B loves Jared Leto.
I feel like he's one of those actors where it's just he doesn't act. You just cast him in roles that are basically him. He's like Robert Downey Jr. is the Iron Man, but to like batshit crazy people.
I wish he didn't try. Like I just wish he just did himself. Like instead of trying to do, he keeps putting on these personas. It's like, dude, this is like high school.
Like I wanted to see more of him as Joker.
Yeah, me too.
I thought that would have been perfect spot for him, and I would have loved to see him and Margot Robbie as like in their own movie, like 100%. A Joker Harley Quinn movie would have been amazing.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't like that version of the Joker, but I did. I thought that was like a really good direction.
We got more
potential. There was potential. I just wasn't sure. He just a
lot of his stuff got cut.
He comes in at like 180, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, he was supposed to have. I think they said that he was supposed to have like 30 minutes of screen time or something in Suicide Squad.
They cut it
down like hard. 5 minutes or something. It wasn't very
just
much.
Just that driving scene when the flashback thing. Yeah,
he was pissed off because he's like, I shot all this footage and all these scenes, and it just all got left on the cutting room floor. I can't remember why. I think last minute they did like a re-edited.
The director's like, because you sucked.
I don't know.
I hated you.
Yeah. I think it was the same movie where Batman has that, they call it the Nightmare with a K, right? Where it's the future look. It's like a future forward thing because they were hinting at the Injustice storyline, and he's there too. And that would have, I don't know, it just looks really cool. I thought Jared Leto would have been.
He's got a good look for the Joker. I'm just not sure if he's got he doesn't have the chops of like Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix, I thought was
cool. That was a cool interpretation too, though. I feel
like his was more real, whereas the Joker Jared Leto played was like if you took the comic and tried to make it real.
He was like Arkham. He was like Arkham Joker.
Yes. Yeah. 100%.
Whereas man, Joaquin was like,
that was cool.
He was like a whole other. He was like a 1970s horror Joker.
Kind of real, almost real. Like that. You could read about that guy in the news.
Yeah, he's an incel. Like he's. I came out of that movie and I was like, God, is this like? It kind of makes you want to go and just like, paint my face and kill people. Like, dude, what's that going to do for other people?
Yeah, I thought they CGI'd his body. I didn't realize.
No, he did that shit, man. That's him.
I know. God,
I could not believe how like emaciated he looked. I was like, oh man, that's great CGI. It's like, no, he literally killed himself for that role.
Christian Bale in The Mechanic. I think it was The Mechanic. He's same. And then what was that? That was like
story, though?
It was like back to back with Batman.
Yeah,
I think it was. It was like he
back up again.
in between the Batman flicks, he did the mechanic, lost like 65 pounds, got all creepy skinnified, and then turned around and knocked out being swole again in like a year.
That's got to be great for you.
Man, the shit that the dudes look. I know like Hollywood sucks for the ladies and stuff. Like there's a lot of that craziness, but man, you hear more and more. You hear these stories of like from Chris Pratt and stuff of like guys. You can't do this. Like, there's no. It's bad for you.
You're all masochists.
Yeah. 3 to 6 months of like 5 hours a day working out. I have like this hardcore strict diet.
You're being paid for it.
Like this is impossible to maintain all the time.
Yeah,
it's impossible.
That's the investment.
You can't do that.
If someone wants to pay me, I'll get fucking ripped too. But
because the guy's there's gonna be a trainer come knocking on your door at 5 a.m. and you have to like that's your.
I remember that with Momoa. With Momoa when he was doing Conan, there would be like a guy would show up and go eat the chicken, and then there'd be like a chicken to eat, and then he'd eat steak, and then he's like pumping iron, and he's like sneaking out trying to get a beer, and he's not allowed to. I mean, it's like it's bonkers. It's like you are not eating. We were talking about this a little bit before, Barnacules, where we were saying like to truly get. Like to really trim down to just the bare essentials. Eating is not enjoyable. It is not. It's purely. It is like medication 3 times or 5 times a day.
No, you're eating to barely survive. Is what you're doing.
Even when I was working out regularly, and my trainer told me like, "What are you eating today?" Like starting off, like walk me through what you ate today. I know, okay, blah 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 blah. She's like, "That's not enough." I'm like, "What do you mean?" She goes, first off, 1, you're not eating the right stuff. And 2, it's not enough. I'm like, you should probably be at like 22 to 2,600 calories, but those calories need to be like
eggs.
And she broke it down. I remember most of it nowadays, but it's like unlimited fruits and vegetables. Eat all you want. I don't care. No more than 4 ounces of protein, lean protein in a meal.
That's it?
In a meal, 4 ounces. Yeah. 4 ounces of lean protein, so like a chicken breast or chicken thighs, anything like that. Yeah. A couple tablespoons. I had like 2 tablespoons of fats or oils. A cup of something else like dairies or something like that. And grains. A cup of dairies and grains, something like that. But like unlimited fruits and vegetables, but 5 times a day. She's saying. So a meal would consist of 4 ounces of lean protein and all the oils and blah 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 blah. Yeah. Unlimited fruits and vegetables 5 times a day, and I was hungry all the time. All the time.
Yeah.
And I was still eating all of that and still like hungry, feeling it.
It's that line, that fabulous line in Notting Hill.
Crazy.
And she says like she's the movie star. She's playing the movie star. What's her face? Whatever, you'll know. Someone will know.
Yeah, man.
And she's saying like I've been hungry since I was 16. Because she's a movie star. They don't eat. They're not allowed to eat. They don't, they pose with a sandwich and then fucking put it down and hand it to an assistant or something. Like, I mean, it's like, it's ridiculous.
Well, the thing is your body's natural state isn't to have like cut muscles everywhere and super low body fat. Like your optimal, like your optimal survivability is a balance between muscle and fat. And people either try to go to one extreme or the other, like in these acting roles. And it's like, you have to force your body to do what it doesn't want to do. It's just like in the roles where they have to put on weight, where they have to put on like 30 pounds a month or something for a role. And they're like just stuffing their face with like the most fatty like foods of blowing their arteries out, killing their freaking kidneys and their liver and they don't enjoy it at all. It's like they literally have to like set an alarm that's like, go stuff your face because they're just never hungry.
Yeah.
And or like The Rock is another great example because The Rock, he has to burn like with his workout and everything he does, I think it's somewhere along the lines of like 8,000 calories a day, 6,000 or 8,000 calories a day, but they all have to be calories from like fat with high protein. So everything he eats is just like tilapia with fish oil dumped on it. And so he has to have that cheat meal like every week. He said it actually serves a purpose. I forget what it was.
Dude, I live. That's my life. My life is his cheat meals.
It's just
that's
the
what
cheat
I do
meals every day. Yeah. But during the week, he said that's all he does. When he's on set, they just have all these prepared little tilapia boxes that are in a fridge, and he has to eat like I think it's like every 45 minutes or an hour he woofs one down all day, like end of the night. He's just woofing this down. He said the only thing he has other than that is water and coffee. And you're just like, holy crap. And this is when he's actually
in a way, that would be easier for me because that's kind of like quitting. That's like saying like, okay, I'm just eating what I'm given. That's it. I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to enjoy it. I'm just going to just get it down, get on with my day. Like that would be ideal. But the problem is as soon as you go to the fridge and you have options, it's like, yeah,
that's it. That's exactly. That's
I want a peanut butter sandwich.
Just,
I want 4 peanut butter sandwiches. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like if it was like you said, like we were talking about before the stream. It's like if it was medication, it's just like, oh, it's 2 p.m. It's time to take your tilapia box. You know, you just do that, and then you just never eat. You know, you never eat for fun or for sport. You know, or socially. You would just like if you go with your friends to like a restaurant, you like sit there and drink a water, and then when they're done eating their meal, you go out and eat your tilapia box.
But that's what it's like going out for lunch or dinner in LA.
I bet
there's always someone at the table who's drinking a fucking glass of water or or sipping coffee who isn't eating because they're either up for a roll or got a roll or whatever.
Yeah, like you guys have ice cubes. I think I'd like to mix it up today. Like it's like, oh my god, dude.
Yes, can I get a side of ice?
Hey, Gaming Matty Rocks, thank you the $5 super chat. Said, how can I prevent my Samsung 4000 series TV from unplugging all the time? Any slight movement, the cord shuts it off. Oh, you're talking like where it plugs into the TV? Like the connection where it like plugs into the TV, because it sounds like that might be a broken solder joint or something inside the connector. What's that?
Shove a little blue tack in there. That's what I do.
Oh, that's if it's actually falling out, like if it's physically falling out. It did say unplugging. So, yeah, no, I mean that's a good idea. A little blue tack and just stuff it in there. As long as it's making contact with the pins, it should be all right.
Yeah.
Just don't cover the pins up too much, because if it doesn't have good contact, it'll heat up really fast.
No, you can't. Yeah. You don't want to be.
Give that a try. Sean Vlogs, thank you for the subscribe. Appreciate that. Hystario, thank you for the $5 super chat. He gives us a high five. There's a Hystario, high five there. Boom. And Eric G, our resident truck driver, thank you for the $10 super chat. He said, how's it going, guys? He said, I'm late to the stream, but glad you're still on. Been driving the back roads and had no signal for a few hours, but I'm back in civilization now and I can enjoy the second half. Well, thank you. We appreciate you hanging out. So what do you guys
That's
think
house
about
fire material. Someone says the blue tack is house fire material.
Really?
Is it conductive?
Is blue tack flammable?
I can't imagine so. It's like putty. It's like clay. It's not.
Yeah. I'm just talking about a little bit around the edge.
Yeah.
A little bit around the edge.
Yeah. Come on. Hold on.
I've been surprised by what's flammable and what's not.
Hold on. Here's blue tack flammable. Oh wow!
Look it up too.
Searched for this before.
No, same, right? It can be swallowed without harms, not carcinogenic, non-soluble, denser than water. The material is not flammable, but emits carbon dioxide and monoxide when exposed to fire, high temperatures. As of 2015, Bostik was manufacturing around 100 tons. Tonnes, actually, it's the British Tonnes, of blue tack weekly at its Leicester. No, I'm just kidding. I think it's Leicester. Right? It's like a more of a esh sound. Leicester factory.
Somebody will tell us in chat.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's what they first said. That's what
the where's your sister sauce? Right.
Yeah.
the Worcestershire.
No, it's where's your sister sauce? Where's your sister?
You see, you're offending Jim. You're offending Jim and his British sensibilities.
Oh God.
Yeah. It's like it hurts my ears, my British ears. Quickly save.
Next time I go into a restaurant, man, I'm gonna
save the monarchy.
I need to wear your sister sauce for my steak, please.
Oh my God.
There's a TikToker guy that he's like a Southern chef, or not a chef, but he does like fancy some nice real cool recipes and stuff, and that's how he says it. He's where's your sister sauce? And I stole that. That's so cool.
Where is your sister sauce? I love it. I love it.
That's funny.
Hey, topics. Let's talk some topics.
What topics? I don't even know what the topics are anymore.
Okay, well here we'll help you out. The first one
is this feetfinder.com. We're doing topics now.
I'll lay them out. Okay. So that we know, so everybody knows what we're up for. Okay, first we're going to talk about Google and Apple banning TikTok. Like,
nope, not happening.
It's not going to happen.
You don't think
we'll talk about it.
No,
the GPU shortage is over. So the crypto crash, basically.
Is it?
Yes.
Here's the thing. I never thought that crypto was going to stay down. I'm starting to think it might this time.
I don't think so. It'll come. I do think it'll come back. I don't think it'll be like it.
Yeah, not like it was. I don't think it can go away. I think the infrastructure undeniably is around to keep it. Its utility for like at least Bitcoin is still there. I just don't think it's ever going to do what it did again. I think that ship sailed. The whole like everybody mining on their GPUs and being profitable and stuff. I think that ship has sailed. I think it's going to be more of a just farms are going to be the ones that are maintaining and verifying the blockchains.
If they're even farming anymore.
And then the final topic that we'll talk about before we close everything out is Roe v. Wade versus Anonymous. Did you guys see what was going on with that?
No, I love my Anonymous.
So we'll get to that. We'll get to that one in the end. You guys.
I gotta look that one up.
Yeah, there's some active combat against against the states that are implementing that. And some of the clever ways that they figured out to protect people is pretty cool.
Right.
So Google, Apple banning TikTok. Are we all in agreement that that's just not going to happen?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What do you think, David? Give us a counterpoint here.
Yeah, well, because it's got there's two different sides to it here. It's one of them, I think, is there's obviously a certain amount of protectionism here. Like we've got one of our largest competitors, if not our largest competitor, has access to basically all of our citizens' information because everyone's on TikTok, certainly all the kids. My other concern with it as a parent is that these kids are self-censoring because they've got the same kind of censorship approach that China has with their internet, where people will put things out there and then they go, oh, that's weird. My video on Tiananmen Square is doing really badly. I guess no one wants to hear about that. Well, they do. They just don't hear it because it's being shadow banned, right?
Yeah.
So it's just, I think there's a lot of stuff going on there. And especially given everyone's look, it's also deflective because I feel like what about Google? What about Facebook? What about all these other companies? But the reality is that because China has such a hand on the scales with this thing, that I think people are going to have concerns with it, and we have no control over making them do any of the stuff that we want them to do with it. So I would not be surprised if it got banned myself.
You don't,
or at least slapped down a little bit and told it's got to,
Well, they got a U.S. operation now. I thought the whole thing when Trump was in office is he forced them to like move domestic, like they're domestically storing data. But I heard that they're not really following those rules. That's
the problem is. So they may have it. I think Oracle is handling some of the database stuff for them or something.
Yeah, but it's like some of it. It's not all of it like it was supposed to be.
And they've got access to all that data.
Correct.
So they still have all that data. Like I don't know what they're going to do with it. Who knows? But I mean, but again, it's also stuff that they can start mining. They can start mining the general sentiment and start like I'll tell you why they'd be worried about it right now is because next election they don't want another TikTok canceling Trump events, right? They don't want a bunch of TikTokers saying, "Hey, we're going to buy tickets to the event."
That was so funny.
You know what I mean?
And everybody reserved the tickets.
They reserved those free tickets and
no. Yeah. So I'm sure
I love it. They should do that.
Probably a reason why there's mainly Republican concern about this stuff. But anyways,
that was pretty funny though. It's like that was clever. Whoever organized that, like on the down low and made that happen, like pure genius. It's
fantastic. So TikTok saves your retina scan. Really? Is that true?
What's that?
Come on, it doesn't even get that. It does not even get that close.
TikTok can't get your retina scan.
Do you even know where your retina is? This got to be sarcasm. I can't believe that.
No. What they do is they have an algorithm where if you get it really close to your face and shine the laser right into your eye, then it goes, "Oh, I detect a retina," and takes a picture and stores it.
It's like there was a filter on TikTok that like turns it all like flat and colored and stuff, and like girls were like taking their shirts off or something, and people are like, "Oh, there's a thing you can take that away," and I'm like, "Is there?" I'm sure, but the thing is, you're not going to be
like an anti-filter filter.
No, right, but you're never going to see. Look, that's not how video works.
And if you're that desperate,
if you downloaded some girl's TikTok where she takes her shirt off with the filter, and you were to try to unfilterize that, I cannot believe there's not enough data in that video file that you downloaded to see boobs.
But there are government officials in China probably looking at their boobs right now.
Well, now if you could somehow the app. Right, yeah. Applying the filter is at some point seeing your nakedness because it's got to in order to put the filter on there.
Sorry, I'm not sure. I think I'm going to just step back a bit. Why? What's the point?
No, it's to get around the automated detection. So I saw this on Instagram and I saw one and I was scrolling through and it was a negative of somebody doing the whole. This was back a while ago. It was the #FreeTheNipple thing. And so they took a negative picture. You just take it into a photo app and you say, make the negative, right? And so it creates a negative and then it just looks like blue. Everywhere where it's white, it's now black. Everywhere where it was dark, it's now white.
That. It's similar to that.
Yeah. So it does that. And then all you have to do is like screenshot the picture, take it into Photoshop and just say, do negative. And it'll flip it around again. And then it's the original picture. But when it's in its negative form, when you upload it, the algorithm doesn't recognize it as nudity because it doesn't have flesh tones. It doesn't identify the face properly because the shading's wrong and everything. So it like throws off their algorithm. Because the algorithm, they don't want to, seeing statues and like censoring statues and artwork and stuff like that. So it has a lot of information in it that's specifically looking for skin tones and lighting and all kinds of stuff that it can make a determination. As a matter of fact, it's so good now that I think Google has it too, but I know that Bing has a thing in there now where it can actually filter out the child exploitation videos by measuring the distance between the eyes, the nose, and the chin. and it can actually figure out, because when you're a child and you go through puberty, it changes some of these attributes of the measurements of your eyes to your ratio of your nose and your chin. And they've actually implemented that so it can find that and it can filter all that stuff out, so they don't have to have a human like going through and like verifying everything.
Yeah, because that's gotta be freaking disturbing too.
So here's an example of the filter I was talking about. I'll post it in the chat. Boop, boop,
we're about to not see boobs.
So no, these folk aren't taking their shirts off or anything, but this is just an example of the filter that's being used. Was being used to do it.
Shoot, sorry, sound.
This is different. Okay, I haven't seen this one.
They were using this filter to and then like either pretending or actually removing the clothes, and people are like always commenting, "Oh, you can unfilter this," and people are seeing like your boobs and stuff. That would have been a much bigger story if that was legitimately happening. Because really, you can't, like, you're going to download this video. There's not enough data in that video file after you've downloaded it to reverse this, to get anything worth a damn out of it.
Yeah, no, when it's just two colors, there's no way. It's going to just look like a drawing. So it doesn't matter if you flip the colors or you do anything. However, there are clever ways to do stuff like that. Like if you just drop the bit depth down to like 16 bit or whatever and shifted the color palette like 50 to the left or 50 to the right, it basically be like decryption, right? If you told somebody, pull this much saturation out of edited pixel, take 100 out of blue, 200 out of red, and 300 out of blue or whatever, you could scramble it enough that if somebody just followed those steps, they could get the original picture.
Now that, so in that
almost
way,
like that's interesting. But you'd still, is it not losing the stuff though? Is it?
What's that?
It must be throwing stuff away though while it's doing it though, isn't it? I mean, it's not like saving that information.
No, it wouldn't know what you did to the image. It would just be saving the image, and you would effectively just be decrypting it in the photo software by following the reverse steps. It'd be similar to encrypting something, giving the person the seed, right?
No, I was just wondering if TikTok saves the original video or whether it's just showing you what it's like.
You wouldn't upload the original video. Like you upload only upload the modified video, so it would never see the original video because you're not using it to do it. You're using like an external program, and then you're adding it as the image.
I see.
And people have been doing that for a while. I can't remember the name of it, but there's a name for when you basically obfuscate something in plain sight. So basically you make like an MP3, for instance, but you store executables in it, and then all you have to do is like cut the header off, rename it to exe, and it works.
Isn't it something stenography?
It's something close. It's somebody in chat tell me the terminology.
In chat will do it.
Because like there's ways of doing that with like pictures too. Like you send somebody a JPEG.
Like the thing that I saw used for was what was it? The image site, Imager. So on Imager, you used to be able to
steganography.
That's what it is. Okay, yeah. So you used to be able to upload images with metadata, and all you had to do was take the miscellaneous metadata field and put a UU encoded string into it, and you could actually extract that, decode it to an executable.
Stegosaurus.
Yeah, or to an image. Cool. You could have an image in an image. Like I saw this one person, they created a tool that would encode your image, and all it did is it just had an image of like a landscape. But then you're like, why is this image like 14 megabytes or 20 megabytes? And then what you do is you open it up in properties in Windows, and it'll have a metadata field that's just called like miscellaneous or description, and it'll just have a garbage string in it. And then what you do is you use their tool that'll extract that garbage string and then encode it back into another image. So you can have an image nested in the image, but the service doesn't see it.
That's cool spy shit.
Like, do you guys remember what happened with I can't remember her name, the lady from G4 Tech TV back in the day that posted a cropped picture of herself online and somebody uncropped it and it was like a nude photo. It was
Trish or something.
Shit, I can't remember her name. Literally it freaked everybody out because everybody was like, "Oh God, we crop photos all the time. Like, what's up there?
You got to save it again."
Yeah,
you can't just crop it and then use the cropped one. You crop it and save as a copy.
That's interesting.
Save as new. Save as new.
So what they did is
there's so much data in pictures that you take. Like people are like, don't just post photos like up to Instagram or whatever. Like take a photo and then a screenshot of it. And then upload the screenshot.
Yeah,
like your location data, the camera you used, the lens that it is, the model of the phone you used, where you were. Like you can turn off geotagging and stuff, but like just look at the details of any picture you've taken with your phone. Like you can pull up your gallery. You go here. I'll show you gallery right now.
Well, the thing is, it was Morgan Webb. You guys remember Morgan Webb, right?
I took that photo, right? I swipe up a bit. Swipe up a bit. Here's just some of the data. I'm going to cover the location data. but like it's
Yeah, it's all the metadata.
When I
right?
took it, the name, the time, the location.
the
There's
EXIF
more.
data.
There's even more, and it'll tell you the focal length I use, the f stop, the ISO. I don't remember all the right terms.
It's a
But
ton.
f 2.4, 125 second, 1/125th second at 4.330 millimeters, ISO 200, white balance auto, flash, no flash, on my Samsung SM-N970U. That's just the basic stuff.
So the problem
that's the
with
OSINT stuff.
The Morgan Webb photo is when the Morgan Webb photo was uploaded, it did show the cropped image. It didn't show the nude image. So and it's because the image format that she saved as keeps the original layer, and then the cropping is like an EXIF data point that the viewer acknowledges and uses. So all they had to do was basically right click and save the image, because they didn't re-encode it. They just stored it as is in the database. You right click, saved as, drug it into Photoshop, and just uncropped it. And all the original data was still there. Yeah, it wasn't just a preview picture, because on the site it was cropped the way that she wanted it to. Because I remember this happening. It was like it did crop it the way she wanted to, but one person figured out that if you downloaded it, took it into Photoshop and uncropped it, it actually worked, and then they re-uploaded the photo, and she's like, "Oh my god, like what the hell?" And so now most formats don't do that. I don't know of any format that still does that by default today in Photoshop, other than if you save it as like PSD or one of the project files.
Right.
Which no sites support that. You're not going to upload a PSD to a website. It's going to be like, no, upload JPG or PNG or one of the formats where cropping isn't stored as metadata. So, but that's freaky, right? It's like how many images are out there that were uploaded back then? They just haven't been uncropped yet.
Yeah.
It's there could be a lot of stuff, and people cropping out their addresses and stuff like that. Like it's pretty crazy what you don't know you're uploading.
But when you upload stuff to social media now, it strips stuff now, right? It automatically strips stuff.
Most do now. Yeah.
Like I know Twitter does. I'm pretty sure Instagram does too. Although that doesn't mean that they don't. I'm sure they don't throw it away.
The problem is it takes processing power, which costs some money. So like if you upload an image and all they have to do is just check the size to see if it's under a certain size, and then they just store it in the database, that's a really quick operation. If you have to take it and re-encode that image, then that's going to take up a lot of CPU, especially if you're like a site that has millions of images going through it a day. That's going to be significant bandwidth, memory, CPU storage, all of those things to rescale that image. Just like a site like YouTube. It's like when you upload a video, look how long it takes them to process it to HD, because they're basically just transcoding it in super low resolution. And then the cloud network is the one that's like sitting in the background, transcoding it into their formats and everything like that.
Right.
And depending on which format you upload them, it takes them longer to process. So I think it was like if you upload like MOV, it takes longer to process than like MP4, because their transcoding mechanism is, different speeds for different encoding types. So they only allow certain ones. But back in the day, image sites would just be like, oh, if your browser can decode it, what's the point in us, retranscoding it? Just store it in the database. If somebody uploads an image, store it in the database. So what you saw loading in the browser was the entire image, including the XF data. And I know, like you said, Facebook did it. I don't know if I think Twitter might have done it too at one point. There was a lot of sites that just completely overlooked that there was all this XF data sitting in there.
It's interesting because that was one of the Amber Heard things too, right? Didn't they get her on EXIF data on her photos, right?
They absolutely did. Yeah,
she put a filter on to make a bruise look like more like a bruise or something.
Yeah, she took the same photo and said it was two separate photos when she modified it to make the bruise, make it look like there's a bruise. And it's like the XF data showed that it was the same exact photo, same date and everything. So but the thing is, you can hide data in all these like little mechanisms like that. The word, what was it? Steganography. Yeah, it's like you can basically just hide information in plain sight. Like one of the things that's commonly done, and I still see this commonly done, is if you go into some forums, people will actually point you to a paste bin, and the paste bin is just a huge blob of garbage, text. And you just take that huge blob of garbage text and you just dump it into a UU encoder, which is like, old school Usenet technology, and it'll re-encode it back to an image, to an executable, like all kinds of things. So you can basically, anybody that comes across that public paste bin is just going to think somebody just pasted garbage in there. But the truth is, it can be decoded. And then other things they can do, if you really want to be sly, is you just shift all the bits by 1 or 5 or 10. And then in your UU encoder program, you can say shift the bits back. And then unless you know the exact number of bits to shift it back, it's going to just be garbage. If you try to encode it, it's just going to be a garbage binary. It's not going to work. You shift it 10 bits because you know it's 10 bits, and then you can encode it and use it again. So it's like super, janky encryption that anybody could break, but it's enough that it throws off the system that analyzes for viruses and things like that. So it's a constant battle back and forth, technology versus the people.
Well, and people have been doing this stuff for, forever. Trying to come up with crafty ways of hiding what's going on.
Yep. And the other thing is back to the TikTok subject. I think that data is the new gold, right? Like everybody, data is the most profitable thing on earth right now.
Yeah.
And because wealth is just, all you're doing with wealth is you're moving wealth from one person to another person. Like your entire life is just a transfer of resources. So if data allows you to more effectively transfer resources from people to yourself, you are the better hungry hippo, right? And data enables you to do that.
What data are they getting that is so scary? Like
you get a location, you get a location, you're getting
which they can buy that anyway. So what difference does it make?
But they're buying it from people like them.
They can sell
they're
it.
Going to sell it.
So the reason why people want it is for advertising. It all goes back to advertising.
But they're saying, like, I'm skimming through this article here, and they're like talking about, this is a national security threat. Like, what do you think you're getting? I mean, I suppose from certain angles, the data could be used in a similar sort of like Cambridge Analytica sort of thing. But what? I don't know, man. The ads I'm seeing on TikTok are like for Glowforge and shit. I'm not getting political ads on
so for profitability, the advertisements are where it's at, right? Like figuring out somebody's but here's where it gets dangerous for governments. Like this is what we don't want China to be able to do. Is China can actually control what you're seeing based on watching what you've already looked at, and they can steer your opinion by having an AI analyze how you respond to things and slowly push you further to the right or slowly push you further to the left.
I can see that. Yeah, I can see that where the algorithm
it learns
pushes you toward content that might sway your opinions for things. Oh shit. I lost the word. Not so obvious as like straight up political ads and stuff, but what content you are seeing could alter your general.
Scarier. Sure. Yeah, I think it's much scarier manipulation because people get their news from Twitter now. People get their news from my kid. Yeah. Any world news that my kid gets at 14 is from TikTok.
TikTok. Yeah.
Here's a scenario that I could see happening. I think this scenario has already played out, honestly, with Russia and other countries. But let's use China as the example. Let's say we have an election coming up, and one of the candidates is like super pro China trade. We want to do this and this and this, and that you can tell they have a history of like doing China right. And then you have another candidate's like, I want to burn China to the ground. We want to disconnect from. We don't want to do this anymore.
You never hear about that,
right? It's in China's best interest to make sure that the right candidate gets elected. So if they're a platform where every third person in the United States watching that platform, and then 10 days before the election, they start taking any conspiracy video that talks about the other candidate like sleeping with people, just lies. It could be just straight up lies. If you blast that out, you're going to get a large percentage of that population to vote before they know the truth.
And to be clear, it's not just TikTok that's doing this. I mean,
everybody does this. Like
people are paying for bullshit on Facebook. I'm sure Twitter as well. I mean, God, you can't go to a fucking news site without there being 1,000 ads for different things. I can't tell what's news and what's a freaking ad now.
Yeah, I think that's where the separation comes in the topic is like we're talking about like we don't want China to be able to do this, but we've been doing this to ourselves forever, right?
Yeah, there's that, right?
We have companies
who have been manipulating its people for every government does, right? I mean,
and the corporations now. I mean, the corporations as well, right?
Corporations.
It's that great book, that Surveillance Capitalism book, which I recommend everyone read. It's amazing. Talking about how it's no longer about trying to persuade people to do things. We're now being literally controlled by it.
Dude, ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is absolute bliss. Because like when I started to figure out just how much control a corporation has over politicians, I was like, we are not a democracy. We're not even a republic at this point. Like if you are a corporation that has a ton of influence and a ton of power, you can definitely get the underdog to win. Like if they're close enough, you can shift that election.
Dude, it was just rewind the tape to I think it was the 2004 election.
The creation of the CPACs? Was it
no, Howard Dean. I talk about this one all the time. And I'm pretty sure it was 2004 because I'm pretty sure this was the first time I was going to vote.
I haven't gone back that far, so I want to hear this.
So and so I'm pretty sure this was 2004. I was going to turn 18 just before this election. I turned 18 in July. The vote's in November. Howard Dean, I'm liking this guy. I'm a stupid 18 kid. I don't know much about this guy, but I'm liking what's going on. It's pretty cool. I'm digging it. I think he's should be the guy. And the non-scream. That's right. So he's at a rally.
Yeah.
And he's got a throat mic, right? Because it's a rally. And he's pumped up. He's like, yeah, because he's doing real well at this point. Like if we're leading up into the generals or whatever, he's doing really well. And he's like, first we're going to take Ohio, and then we're going to take Indiana, and we're going to take all the way to the White House. Yeah. And his voice cracks a bit. And the media tears him up. Jokes all the time on late night stuff. The media, all the different news channels are saying, "Oh, do we really want somebody who's this wild?" And should this be considered unbecoming of a president? And blah blah blah, and this and that. And I'm like, are you kidding? The guy is pumped because he's doing a good job and he's trying to hype up his people, and you guys are like making fun of him and just cutting him down and all this stuff. And he loses. He didn't get anywhere after that. And it was 100% because everybody was picking on him about it.
Yeah, somebody probably paid to make
individuals
a big
or smart groups are dumb because you look at that and it's like, oh, I don't want to vote for that guy because everybody else is making fun of him.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be the one that votes for him or whatever. So I'm going to change my vote. So as a group, you shift all that voting power over somewhere else.
And
throw a couple of deepfakes in there and you could create that thing without even him doing anything.
Yeah, he doesn't have to do it.
Yeah, nowadays. But it's crazy, man. Like that's when I figured out, that's when it really hit me that the whole setup is no different than my high school ASB elections. It doesn't matter. It's whoever the most popular. It doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't really, because they're going to say whatever they want in order to be seen as the most popular to get everybody to vote for them, and then they're going to do whatever the fuck they want when they're in the seat. So
and what was popular
none of it
in
matters.
School is wealth today.
Yeah.
So like they're interchangeable. So it's like back in school, you might not have had the wealth, but again, the wealthy kids usually were the popular ones. Like, oh, you got a car, you got this, you can go this and do this. Oh, wow. I want to be a part of that. And it doesn't change. Like when you get out of school and you get older, it's like when you look at like the Elon Musks of the world, it's like, yeah, as individuals, a lot of people are like, this guy's shady and doing some shady stuff. But as a group, you get everybody together and they're like, yeah, saving the earth. Oh my God. He's got $300 billion. He must be doing something right. It's that opinion makes people want to be associated and want to be his friend. Another thing that I've seen people do, and this is definitely like a social engineering thing, is people can absolutely hate somebody like a celebrity and be like, I hate this person's terrible, blah, blah, blah. But then they meet that person in real life, and just being associated and having a picture with a famous person all of a sudden overrides their judgment of what they thought about that person. I've seen this happen a million times where they're like, oh, I don't like that person piece of shit. But then they see him in public and they're like, oh, that person's like, oh, hey, come take a picture or whatever. And then they're like, all of a sudden they're their biggest fan. They'll just completely flip just because now they're like, oh, I'm affiliated with a famous person.
Yep.
Well, and also these people, they have in many cases, their job is to get along with people. Yeah. So when you meet them in person, you're like, oh my God, they're human. It's like the freaking Breakfast Club. They're complete enemies the whole time until you stick them all in an elevator together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly. Wow. It's so when you're talking about like data being used to manipulate people, it's like we've been using data to manipulate people forever. It's just the scope has changed. Yeah. Like it used to be like you'd go to a rally and you're only manipulating the people that you're talking to at any one given point. But now because it's televised, now it's hitting everybody at once. Now because you have like a social media campaign and you're paying thousands of bots and you're, like one of the things that Elon Musk did recently is he had a huge bot network follow him on Twitter. And you can tell because if you go look at his stats, he goes from only getting between 20 and 50,000 followers a day to getting like 170,000+ followers every single day, all the way up to 100 million. And if you look at it, it changes harshly and then it levels. It's like the same almost every day. And so you look at it and you're like, that's impossible. Like that's statistically impossible for that to happen. You're like, why? He hits 100 million on his birthday. What are the odds?
How convenient, right?
How convenient is he? At that steady rate, it hits 100 million on his actual birthday. And
guys, I need to hit 100 million on this date.
And the thing is, what it does is it boosts his influence, because the algorithm says the more people that are following you, the higher your message should be in their stack, because you are a person that is more important and more influential based on that.
Why don't we all just buy followers then? What's to stop us?
A lot of people do, but it's expensive. It's like, if you want to buy like 10,000, I mean, it depends, relative, right?
Yeah.
10,000 followers might cost you like $300-400, but to somebody, that's a lot of money to like an average person. But if you're building an empire,
packages, that's nice.
Yeah. I mean, Ace Family.
I get messages all the time.
Ace Family. The only reason Ace Family is even remotely popular, and they've confessed to it now because all the data is there. They bought followers from the beginning. Like, they started their entire business on creating a fake audience and then using that fake audience to boost them to the top, so that people thought they were popular, because they're like, well, all the other kids are following them, so I should follow them too. But the thing is like, none of the kids talk to each other to be like, well, did you follow him? Did you follow him? No, they're all like, oh, they're really popular, so we're gonna follow
me, man.
That's
so it's $2.99 for 50 followers.
$2.99
for 50 followers.
See, that's
how much for 1,000? I want 1,000 followers. I might drop $50 for 1,000 followers.
Yeah, I found one site when I was back researching this. I found one site that sold up to 30,000 followers over 30 days, and it was like $5,000 or something.
All I want's the 10,000 on Instagram, so I can post links in my stories.
You know, it's so funny because I looked into
Go follow me on Instagram.
Because I was going in for auditions, and they were saying like, "What is your Twitter following?" And I'm like, I've like got 100,000.
Why does it matter?
And it's like, but how many do you want me to have? Because like, if I'm going to get a job or not based on how much you idiots think my ability to buy followers on Twitter is, then I'll buy the freaking followers. It just seems like the price of doing business. Right? I looked into it. My only concern with it was exactly what you've just said, Brian, because I don't want someone going in and going like, oh, loser just bought himself a whole bunch of Twitter followers.
Yeah, because if you look, you can figure it out. It's not
I've been waiting for that to happen. I have been waiting for that to happen for years, though. I keep waiting for the shoe to drop and people to go like, wait a second, why does this idiot who hasn't done anything have like 1 million freaking followers? But no one does.
Well, you know what the big scam was back like 10 years ago? I think they're wise to it now. But even more than 10 years ago, it's probably like 15, 20 years ago. Like when I first started on YouTube, I was like, how are these people getting these sponsorships like where companies are just sending them free stuff, right? It's like everybody that becomes a content creator, that's the thing to think of. It's like, how do you approach a company? How do you get free products to review, blah, blah. It's changed a little bit over time. But back in the day, whenever you contacted a marketing company, the very first thing they asked you was, how many subscribers do you have? That's all they cared about. They didn't care about how many views you got. They didn't care about anything. How many subscribers you got. Send us a screenshot of your dashboard. Show us how many subscribers you have. And so you'd find all these tech channels reviewing crap that had like 100 views, 200 views. And you're like, how the hell did they get this company to send them like $1,000 or $2,000 product? And you're like, oh, they have like 300,000 followers or 100,000 followers. Well, how do you only have 300 views on a video? And this is back when YouTube's notifying everybody. Like YouTube's actually reliably sending out notifications. So if you had 300,000 followers, your video should have got like a bare minimum of like 20,000 views, 25,000 views. And they have like 300 and 400 views. And it's because the companies didn't wise up to it. All the companies did was verify that they had that following, that they had that many people. So then what they do is they'd go to company and be like, oh, I only have to pay $500 or $1,000 to get this many followers. But then I get a product that's worth this much that I can do a little video on. So I satisfy the contract and then resell it on eBay. And so you had all these pop up, and you don't see it anymore today, but back in the day, you used to have all these tech channels that had no clout, no following whatsoever. They just had, or they had a synthetic following. They didn't have the views to back it up. But companies never checked. They didn't even check when I did. Back when I did it, they're like, how many subscribers do you have? I have 100,000 subscribers. Oh, we would love to do something with you. We would love to partner with you. They didn't ask me how many views I had per video, what the average is. Now they do. Now, if you approach them, they want like a screenshot of the whole dashboard. They want to know views per video, average, demographics, what countries people are watching from, what age groups are like the most people that follow you and interact. They want all that information now, but back in the day, all they cared about was subscribers. And the thing is, you still have that happening. Like YouTube's figured it out, but a lot of other platforms haven't. So when you're like talking about TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that, it's like the number of people that friend you and follow you, that's worth something to the algorithm. That's gonna promote you higher. The other thing that they're doing now is they're not just selling subscribers, they're selling interaction.
Right.
So you can actually go to a site and be like, they'll even say like, oh, each of our followers is guaranteed to have, 2 interactions a day for 30 days for this amount of money.
Right.
And because the algorithm is now not just taking into account the subscribers, they want to see people leaving comments and interacting. And so they just have a farm of people just sitting in there typing comments. Like,
there's a company here that I was just looking it up, and there's the New York Times did a kind of a fun article on the whole thing. I think it's a while ago though, but they've talked about this website that a lot of the actors are using apparently it's called Devumi, and it's basically, but it's a social media marketing strategy company. In other words, in other words, hire us, and how many do you want? And they're talking about like buying. The reason why I looked that one up was because they're talking about buying huge amounts, like 50,000 followers type thing.
Yeah, these are kingmaker services, basically.
Is that what they're called?
Yeah, like you basically just give them money and they will make you famous. And then the thing is they create that flood, so you start showing up in the headlines. People will start seeing you in their feed because you're super popular, and they're like, I'm going to follow this person because everybody else follows them, and they get so many comments and so much interaction. There you go.
So Devumi, so the New York Times hired this Devumi or Devami. I haven't seen this one. They hired them for $225 and got 25,000 followers.
Now that's a deal.
First 10,000 looked like real people, and then the rest of them got a little bit more suspect as they went along.
Wow.
The first 10, that's all you need. That's it, man. It's like that's really it. And
everyone does it, says the actress.
If you can get you just start the wave. It's like that like we've said before, like people who like blow up for one thing or another.
Just one video, yeah.
You have to ride that wave. And it's the same kind of similar sort of deal. Like, okay, yeah, these 10,000 of them, maybe they're real, maybe they're fake, or they're mechanical Turks, let's say. Like they're halfway real, right? That just gets you like off the starting line. Like eventually you have to keep it up, or you're not. It's not going to work. It's not going to work.
Holy crap. Yeah, I mean, it looks like there's like an arms race going on with them of people just competing to get numbers of followers. I mean,
but like where you said, how many followers was it for? Like $300 or something?
What did they say? It was like, what did they say? Like 10,000 for. No, it was 20,000 for 225.
So I could easily turn 20,000 subscribers into $300 to $500 a month in revenue in perpetuity.
Yeah.
So you're literally paying a fraction of what you do.
225. It's $225 for 25,000 followers.
That's crazy.
I wonder how, man. Now I'm interested.
How many do
curious.
I have?
I'm curious how this might work.
Well, no, I'm going to do this.
Well, as
why not?
Like say affiliate,
say
affiliate
PR
marketing
works.
or some such, right? So you have all these followers, right? But you still need like that might get you a few sponsors and stuff. But if you don't have the engagement, because a lot of nowadays it's not about followers, it's about engagement. Engagement percentage. How many people are commenting? How many people are sharing your thing? How many are saving it? That kind of thing. So like the algorithms are a little different. It's not just followers, but like I said, the followers can get you off the starting line, give you a little bit of a boost, and then
let's face it, you see someone, if you click on someone's response, you go, oh, that's cute. You click on them, they've got 2 followers. You're like, well, I don't know who that is. But if you click on them, they got 20,000. You're like, oh my god, okay.
Yeah. Well, look at this scenario. So you get 20,000 followers in a very short period of time. So the algorithm's like, ooh, this guy's hot.
Yeah.
So now it shows your video to a bunch of organic people that wouldn't see it before. They're only seeing it because the algorithm's like, ooh, you're really popular, so we need to send people over here. And they're the ones that are clicking on the affiliate link and actually buying. And
that's what I mean.
0.5% of those people to click and buy something because all the comments on the video are like, oh, I bought this. Thank you so much. I was looking for this solution. This is the great. Those are all robot comments. But you're like, man, this video, this seems like a good product. It's cheap. I'm going to click on it. Everybody in the comments thinks it's the greatest thing ever. And so they're the ones that are clicking on the affiliate link, and then you get the return on that.
Yeah, that's it. It gets you off the line, gets you in front of a bunch of real people.
Exactly.
It makes total sense.
And from there, you still have to be compelling. You still have to be whatever it is that is your unique proposition.
Right.
But it gets you out there. It gets you a boost, a little kick off the line at least.
It will put you ahead of 95% of your competition that's not doing it.
I mean, I'm curious. So I was curious more just as an experiment, like spin up a brand new, I don't know, some sort of like tech lifestyle account. That's sort of that's the angle, right? Like I'm a nerd, and here's my interesting little, I don't know, takes on stuff. This weird robot cat box and all that stuff. And then you spend maybe a month building it on your own, get as many followers as you can on your own. Then you come out with some interesting thing like that pet hair scraper brush thing that you see everywhere. And that's your big one. Okay, I'm thinking ahead here. Here's the product that I think I'm going to put in front of everybody. buy the followers, make a good ad or a good little reel, or you've been making good content, pretty decent content this whole time, but this is the one that's really going to send me off. All right, boom, pet hair scraper thing changed my life. 20,000 followers, and I imagine you can't do it just overnight. You just don't just suddenly have all these followers. They got to trickle in over the course of a day or two or something. And so, because I imagine they're keeping an eye on that stuff. You can't just wake up in the morning and suddenly be famous.
If you upload one video and it gets like 25,000 views in the first like 10 minutes because the bot network hits so hard, you go right to the top. That's
what I mean. So like, okay, I buy the followers, I post a video, there's all this engagement, and now, boom. Right, like that's it. Now the ball's rolling, and I'm making money off my blog. I'm making money off of these affiliate links, my Amazon store.
Advertisers and stuff, are they not going to get wise to this stuff? I mean, like,
not for the AdSense, they won't, because the AdSense doesn't care if people buy the product. They just care if they click on it. That's it. And if the bots are clicking and engaging and watching the video and watching the ad, that's good enough for them.
And really, though, like if you think about it, does it matter? Because if eventually it's getting in front of real people.
So if it gets you in front of real people, this is PR, right? I mean, this is what people are like, how did that little movie do so well? It's because they spent 10 times the budget of the movie marketing.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And people still go like, wow, it must be a really good movie because there's a whole lovely article about it. I was like, yeah, because someone paid to get it done.
Yeah.
The problem with the bots, though, this is where you don't compare it to marketing, is because if you're a company and you have a $10,000 marketing budget and 9,000 of that goes to the channel that cheats and serves it up mostly to fake people, not only is your click-through rate lower, but the person who's legitimately putting your ad in front of more real people is getting paid a lot less than the person who's just faking it and stealing your money.
Yeah.
But the thing is, platforms already do this. Like Facebook and Twitter are notorious for just leaving bot accounts, like the bot accounts that just keep sending the same message. Like my friend on Instagram, he will save your account. They don't delete those accounts unless enough people complain, even though they can detect them, because every time that bot tweets, they're putting another advertisement in its home feed.
Yep.
So as it's loading, because they can't use the APIs because the APIs are limited. These bots, you can only hit the API so many times a day. So the way that these bot accounts get around that is they just screen scrape and act like a real user. They're actually opening it in a browser instance in memory and operating it just like a user would. And that's how they can have unlimited interaction, and they can avoid the algorithm seeing them as a bot. And
so fantastic. Sorry.
So they're making money on that. Like even if let's say 20% of Twitter is bots, and those bots are going to interact more than anybody else because they're literally posting like 100 times an hour, tagging people saying, "Oh, my Instagram guy will get your account back," or "I'll send you $3,000, DM me." But the thing is, Twitter's making money on that because as their algorithm is like going through and posting these things, it's reloading the page, and every time it reloads the page is another opportunity to put a promoted ad in that home feed. And they get paid for it. The companies are going to pay them out their share, because they can't tell if their ads being served to a bot or if their ads being served to a human. So what is the incentive for Twitter and YouTube and all these people to delete the bot accounts? There's no incentive because they basically have to spend the time to delete the accounts, and they'd make less money. They'd shoot themselves twice. It's better to just leave. And from their opinion, it's better to just leave the bots there and get the extra money.
I've debated going through my Twitter followers because I'm sure there's a ton of crap in there that I could get rid of. But I'm
15% of my following is bots.
But do I want to get rid of it? Because then I go like, okay, so if it's true, if people are truly going like, oh my God, he's got 100,000 followers, I'm happy to continue them to think that, because if that's going to get me jobs. If the industry's so stupid it doesn't figure that out, then I'm totally fine to continue that. But because I'd love to go through and just scrape and get rid of all the crap that isn't really of any use to me. But at the same time, it's like, why would I? As you say, there's no incentive to do that.
Yeah, and you won't get rid of them anyways because the bots are joining in an hour. Like it's crazy. Like and followers. Like here, let me look through my followers right now. So the people, so people
just
that are following
just type NFT once into a tweet, and then that's it. You're
just 10 minutes ago, I got followed by this Adri Johnson. Never say never. Actually, that one looks like it might be real. Hold on, let me scroll down.
And where are you looking? You just look at your followers.
So I just clicked on followers, and it's in chronological order from the person who followed you just last and then down. But just scrolling through the list, I can see on the first page I have let's see here. So Andre Mora, no profile image, no bio. No posts. That's usually an indicator that they're DMing people.
Generally a bad idea. Yeah.
Let's see. Scrolling through here. It's actually better than it was though. Last time I clicked on this, it was like every page had 2 of them. Now it's like 1 every 2 pages. So it does look like Twitter's at least doing something about them. Wow, this is actually better than I've seen it in forever. I used to click on this and it was all bots, like 2 a page.
I like the people who follow who are literally just all retweets of contests.
Yep. That's another big thing that happens on Twitter is everybody has an alt account for joining contests because they don't want to dirty up their feed. Or they want to have multiple entries.
Oh, that's really smart.
Yeah, that's why if you ever do a giveaway, I usually back when I did a giveaway every once in a while, I'd put in there that we check the accounts. Like if you get picked and your Twitter is nothing but joining entries, you don't win. Like it's a redraw.
It's so weird. So I'm looking through mine. Mine all look legit to me. Like I'm looking. I mean, not all of them, obviously, because I'm not going through all of them. But certainly all the recent ones look legit.
Yeah, it looks like they went through and deleted the ones that were like every day I was getting followed by two. The bio would be like girl's name followed by comma followed by random age followed by random percentage OF or OnlyFans or whatever account top OnlyFans, and it would be the same pattern. Like you could filter that out like no problem with regular expression. But I was getting like 2 or 3 of those accounts a day that was following me.
Yeah, I'm not getting. I don't see a lot of them anymore. Yeah, I don't see a lot of those.
I think they're cleaning it up. I
mean, there's a lot of these sort of weird female ones where you go like, I don't think you're real.
Yeah.
The best way. Oh, actually, no. Wow, they're getting smarter. So the ones that I didn't think are bots, they're all bots. So like I clicked on one that looks real and it says like the bio is when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. Rachel Gary. But you scroll down and every picture is a picture of a slightly different woman. It's not the same woman. So they're basically just searching Bing or Google Images and saying, find everybody that looks like this person, pull a bunch of pictures, and then just post them to the profile. That's clever. Well,
that's really the bots, clever. And you can create. Oh, so this is what I was going to say. I was reading
it's hard.
It was an amazing thing the other day where I was looking at cheats, like game cheat stuff. And this guy was saying like, well, this is how they track them. They track them by, by the movement. It's what's in your memory. There's a million different ways of how complex they're getting at finding cheaters in games. Well, so then they show this device, which I thought was genius, which is a mouse sitting in a little robot enclosure. And it runs on a separate computer. So you run a separate computer that takes a feed of your computer, feeds in and they're saying that even if they start saying like, okay, you can't have an external HDMI, like a little video feed, like a camera feed, anything would do it. It has enough information for it. And basically it just moves the mouse. The robot moves the mouse for you. So it's a physical connection to the computer, but it's being completely controlled.
The mouse is always going to have some noise and variation to it that's natural, so they won't be able to detect it.
It had those little wheels on it that could go in multiple directions. So it was constantly sort of, I was like, I want to build one of those. I
that's fun.
Genius.
Yeah, it's crazy, though. It's an arms race because the bots are getting smarter. Like as the detection gets smarter, the bots just get smarter, right? So it's a constant. But I'd say the bots have an advantage, right? Because the bots are always going to circumvent it faster, and it takes them to get rid of the bots. So they have a little bit of an edge. But the other thing that I'm seeing that's like clever ways to like work around detection is if you ever click go to your following and just start randomly clicking on accounts that followed you and see if they have any tweets or any tweets and replies, because you'll find tons of accounts that have no tweets and replies that follow like 300 or 400 people and only have themselves follow like one other account following them. And what they're doing is they're sending out like 100 tweets an hour to people going out, hey, go to my friend on Instagram and or go here or DM me for $3,000. And then what they'll do is they'll wait 15 minutes and then they delete the tweets. And then they do another round and they delete the tweets. And the reason they do that is so it shows up in the cache. When you refresh your page, it is there. But then if you click on the tweet, it says, oh, this tweet has been removed. Right. And the reason that they do that is so you can't right click on it and say report this tweet. So then you're like, oh, the tweet got removed or whatever. So if you're somebody who's gullible, you do what the tweet says and you DM them and then you get in the trap. Or you go to the other site and you enter their trap, but they never get their account deleted because nobody can report what they're doing.
Right.
It's kind of a clever move. And I've seen this happen so many times. And then I have to go report the primary account. And then I report it. And then it says, oh, tag the tweets that offended our rules. And you can't tag any tweets because they have no tweets.
I mean, in a way, I love this because this is just another form of hacking, right? It's another way of like, how do you make the system do something it wasn't meant to do? How do you manipulate
like AI social engineering is what it is. It's like social engineering for robots.
Yeah. Well, eventually it's going to be twit bots trying to convince twitbots to buy things.
They're already doing it.
You know what I mean? Like,
I see it all the time. I see what I'll do is I'll type something and then I get a reply back. If you even say the word Instagram or WhatsApp on Twitter, you'll immediately get like 5 or 6 bots that reply to you. And I've seen bots reply to bots, and then a bot replied to the bot that just replied to it saying, "Oh, DM me for details." And they just get in message wars.
I mean, how funny is that going to be? And they're just going to get smarter and smarter too. Right?
Yeah, like what happens when OpenAI meets Lambda?
I'm telling you,
do they just have an infinite conversation for the next million years?
You could, and like it's really, we're at this point where it's really just putting the disparate pieces together. Because like I've told this story before. This was years ago. Somebody was writing like a whole tech blog thing, but it was all fake. It was all open, or it was all GPT-3 written by a robot, essentially. And it was like 3 years. I've said this all the time. It was like maybe it was only like a year or so, but it took a while before anybody really called him out on it. And he was like, yeah, eventually he came clean and showed up like, yeah, this was all just kind of a big experiment to see if I could. And it was like, it was perfect. And why not? Like, it's there. There's Jarvis.ai, there's Copy AI. Like, there's a bunch of services out there that are essentially just GPT-3 API like portals. And
that'll be the next issue on the internet. That like the internet will have like huge outages because two AIs got into a
they're gonna flame on Twitter.
I would love to see like conservative and liberal bots fighting each other. I think that would be so much fun.
There's a video right there.
Yeah, man. Just bots. Like you have your Alexa talking about calendar invites, and then it bounces to the Google Home and it's like, oh, you have a calendar invite that called "What's my calendar?" And then, or hey, it's you have a calendar event called "Hey Alexa, what's my calendar look like today at 9 a.m.?" And then the Alexa goes, "You have a calendar invite called "Hey Google, what's my calendar look like at 9 a.m.?" And they go back and forth until they explode. And it's just, oh man. It's funny stuff.
That's just a whole nother robot war. It can be AI wars instead of robot wars.
Good. So good.
Lads, whoever gets the other robot to delete itself first wins.
Yeah, or just crash.
I must say my adieus. I'm afraid I've just got texted about.
I only got a few minutes myself.
Right.
Yeah,
take it easy, David. We'll burn through these second two topics.
I love this. Thank you. As always,
I love that you come hang out with us. I still think it's the coolest thing
great.
ever.
I'm sorry I'm not staying longer. It's the weekend and Jane's doing chores out back, and it sounds like this thing's to lift.
Same. Oh yeah, lifting heavy things.
All right, get after it, brother. We're gonna wrap up here in a few minutes, anyways.
Lots of love to y'all. Have
Peace
fun,
out, brother.
Oh yeah, buy a mug. I made a Canada Day ZPM mug.
ZPM. What is a Z? What is a ZPM? Is that? That's ZPM what I take when I want to sleep at night, right?
Exactly.
That's ZPM.
That's the power unit. I'll find
the 0 point module. No, I remember.
Okay, good. I thought you were
picking on the.
He's good.
I'm just picking on the Z.
I almost pulled your nerd card.
Yeah, I was just picking on the Z thing. It sounds like the drug I take when I need to sleep at night.
It does sound like that.
0 point
sometimes that
do you have restless leg syndrome? Try ZPM.
Yeah, you know what? I do have restless leg. There you go. I'll send you. I'll insert the.
Link it in chat, man. You can't tell people to buy something and not show them where to go. Come on,
the tweet. I'll show you.
Are you using? I wanted to mention before you're using Streamlabs for that stuff. Boo!
I know.
No Streamlabs.
It's so easy.
Stream Elements Stream Elements is just as easy. Boo!
What's Stream Elements?
Stream Elements is like an add-on for OBS Studio that just uses like a web interface and it does everything Streamlabs does, except for it doesn't rip you off and doesn't rip your user off.
Steal other people's content and copy paste websites from other services. And
what is that? What they're doing?
Yeah. They had a big. There was like last year they got into a big finger wagon from the internet over legitimately. It was like a legit Control A, Control C, Control V of this other product, their whole website. And they just swapped a couple images around, and
it wasn't just one product. It was multiple open source projects. They basically copied, pasted, and renamed, and then resold it themselves.
They got a big finger wagging about it. Nothing really came of it.
Damn easy though.
Well, the reason it's so damn easy is because they went and stole everybody's plugins that you can actually go and get yourself and put into OBS, but everybody wants it under one hood.
Right now, what do they call? What am I looking for? I'm looking for
Stream Elements. Stream Elements.
It's just the webpage, streamelements.com.
Streamlabs OBS controversy.
Use anything else. Just don't use Streamlabs. They're absolute garbage.
Do they do merchandising and everything as well?
They do. Yep.
Everything. Yep. Everything Streamlabs does, they do it, except for not as shady.
Yep.
All right. Okay. Non-shady. All right, I'll have a look. I'll make the switch. God knows I'll break something.
It came out originally because they had copy pasted. I mean, it's super bad. It was like copy and paste. Yeah. They tried to pass it off. Oh, that was just like filler text, and there was somebody
what are they copying and pasting. Like what? Like a service?
It was something. Yeah, it was something to do with. Well, that was the OBS part. But the thing that they broke it open into the light, they had copied it was a an add-in or plug-in that it was related to consoles. Somebody else, it was called Light, something that. Light something
Yep.
Light. They had copied them directly. It was just clear as day. And then after that, it started coming out that like the people behind OBS, the open source, the open broadcasting system or whatever, because it had been called Streamlabs OBS, and they had asked them. They had directly asked them,
they were OBS at first.
Not associated with them whatsoever. It's a fork of OBS that they've private Lightstream. Thank you, Jim, the Evo.
No, it's even worse than that, Ox. Though they tried to trademark the OBS.
Yeah.
So not only do they steal it from OBS, not only do they keep using OBS, even though the open source guy said, "Could you please rename your project?" They tried to trademark it out from underneath them so that they could be the primary search result, usurp all their search results, and potentially even sue them. And they got caught doing that.
Yeah,
it was really bad. Everything again.
Sorry,
it's terrible.
There's some really good walkthroughs and stuff on YouTube of how to export your Streamlabs settings and then import them into Stream Elements. It shouldn't take but 10 or 15 minutes. It's not.
I will straight up give you free tech support on any problems you have just to get you off of Streamlabs. Streamlabs is that bad.
Just to help me get the monkey off my back.
Literally, man. I'll get on an airplane and fly up there if I have to. But, let's get you off that shit.
Yeah, a lot of people thought that they were associated like in partnership with the project, the OBS project and stuff, and it's not the case. They've been back and forth about it, like, hey, please stop saying OBS in your titles and things. And it almost went to like a legal thing, and then because everybody was getting pissed off at last year, like toward the end of the year last year. And they officially dropped OBS out of their name and things like that.
It was only public outcry.
Buy a mug, fund evil. There you
go.
Perfect. Now I gotta go change it.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cause a problem, but they're pretty bad.
All right. Well, thank you for that. No, that you guys warned me about it in the first place, and then I quit. I quit the Streamlabs stuff. And then I was having so many problems trying to get stuff sorted out. I was like, screw it. I went back to Streamlabs. It was just so easy. So, but now I guess I got
Stream. I like Stream Elements. It's pretty decent. Right. Their WYSIWYG thingy is pretty decent and all that stuff. Yeah, they're pretty good.
WYSIWYG.
We got you, bro. We'll get you there.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Get out of here.
Okay, bye.
I'm out of here.
Peace out.
And I have to find out which of my many windows you're in.
It's one. Just unplug the cable. It's just easier just to unplug the cable out of the back.
Just walk away. Set it on fire. The mic and all right.
So Mage Miner, thank you for that $10 super chat. Appreciate it. He said, hypothetically, I know somebody sells hypothetically, I know somebody sells Instagram accounts for 100K followers for 120 each, and most of them are bot accounts. I mean, they must not. You can Google it and buy it. Like it's literally everywhere. This isn't like you have to go to like a super. I mean, that's a cheap price, but it's not like super secret thing where you have to like go on the dark web and like go into a forum and like buy it with Bitcoin. It's like you can literally go to a site and buy followers with a freaking credit card. You can go buy followers with PayPal. It's like from a site that's indexed and actually like has a legitimate website that's indexed by Google, and they're paying Google to put the results up at the top of the search and everything. I mean, it is legitimately a business because it's technically not illegal. It's against terms of service of these sites, but it is not illegal to sell bots.
Right.
And so they can do it right in plain sight.
It's no different than paying people to protest or paying people for reviews. It's not technically illegal. I don't think the SEC, I mean, they started pushing a little harder on that kind of thing as like, oh, you have to talk about, being, this being sponsored or whatever. But Amazon reviews and stuff are paid for. People, that's like their whole job is to write reviews for Amazon products they've never actually purchased.
Yeah, it's not illegal. And the thing is, like, the SEC is cracking down hard on the crypto stuff. Did you see that? Like
a little bit.
All these crypto scams that have been going on with all these YouTubers and everything. Oh, retroactively, shit's gonna hit the fan. They're all crapping their pants. Yeah, because the SEC, not only are they, and a lot of this had to do with the crypto crash because literally it affected the economy. Like it got so bad it actually started affecting the economy. So now the SEC is all right. Enough's enough. So they're gonna start going after a lot of these crypto scammers and YouTubers that promoted shit coins and stuff like that. Without disclosing it, and I'm excited for that. I want to see all those people fucking burn. I am me. Thank you for the $20 super chat. He said, "Thanks for the stream, guys. About to fall asleep, sitting, so I better go to bed."
All right, go to bed.
Well, I mean, that's when you do it, right? Go to bed when you're tired. So GPUs are regular price now.
Pretty much.
Isn't that amazing?
Pretty much, yeah. Well, I mean, it's good for the consumer. I do feel a little bad for integrators out there who dropped, $2,000 on an open air 3090 that's now selling on eBay for $1,200. I feel a little bad. So like your
the guy that
pre-built
bought my 2080 for like $1,200 or $1,500 or something last year. Oh god.
Yeah. So I mean, it'll level out. It's not so bad, but you'll see pre-built stuff being a little bit more expensive than building yourself for a bit.
What's Bitcoin going for right now? Is it still tanking, or did it finally stabilize? Let's see.
I think it's hovering around 20K now.
20K. Yeah, it looks like, hold on here. Is that finance quote? No. Yeah, about oh wow, 19,000. It's almost down in the 18,000 right. No, that was 2 days ago. Never mind. I'm looking. You used to be able to just type in BTC and show you. So 19,224 is what the current estimate is, and that's down from at its peak. It was, or sorry, the peak of November 2021. It was 69,000. Ouch. Now it's down 120 grand. Ow. It does look like it's hovering around 20 grand though, and it's kind of like that's where it's sticking, but it still is on a downward trend. So but what that means is all the crypto miners are dumping all their mines because it's not profitable to mine right now. So when it's not profitable to mine, you don't want that equipment just sitting there, so you sell it.
That's so weird. You would think this would be the time to double down on it, because like I mean, I guess if you're not, I don't know, maybe it's, I guess I'm more of a hold sort of mindset.
Yeah.
But it's like, man, you're already invested. Just keep mining, keep going, and like when the price goes up, you'll have more. Like I don't know. It's just weird to me.
Yeah, I think what it is so the mining profitability, you have to run against your power and everything, right? So as long as you're above zero, as long as you're making like 1 cent or 2 cent or whatever, and you have a big mine, just let it ride.
Hey man, as long as my profitability is over 25 cents a day or whatever, I'm fine. Cheap power is cheap. I pay 12 cents a kilowatt hour or something at peak.
Let's say you have 3080s or whatever, right? So let's say you have a whole mine full of 3080s or whatever. As long as they're profitable and you're running them, it costs you too much money to shut it down, buy the next generation of hardware, and then have the next generation of hardware pay itself off and make a profit. So you just let the old stuff run until it's not profitable anymore, and that's when you turn it over. Well, now that Bitcoin has crashed so severely and it's like half price, they all flooded the market with their GPUs hoping that they could sell them for like good money on the secondhand market, because now the profit that they make from that, they can basically sit on the mine, do some upgrades, and then wait for the next generation of graphics cards, buy the next generation of graphics cards, and then their mine over time, they'll be more profitable doing that than had they just, sat with the hardware they did and kept running it. So it's just a good point it's a good stopping point for them to turn over all their hardware. Yeah. So the problem is what's going to happen is just like you said, the price comes down. That means the profitability the profitability of mining goes up because the difficulty comes down. So less people mining, the difficulty is going to come down. More people mining, the difficulty is going to go up, meaning your chances of winning a Bitcoin or whatever. Yeah. So and it's designed to self-balance like that. That's how crypto maintains its value, is like if the value goes down, then it becomes easier to mine. So more people mine. That makes the value go back up again. And it's like this triad of things. If mining gets too difficult, then people stop mining, and the price of the coin will go up because there's more demand on it. So it's constantly doing this round robin thing. So I don't think Bitcoin is going to like go to zero or anything like that. But I think what you're going to see is the GPUs are going to be regular priced for a little while. And then what you're going to see is all of a sudden they're going to skyrocket again, and we're going to go through this shit again. And everybody's going to buy cards and start mining. The only way that doesn't happen is, and this may very well happen, we're already seeing like the underpinnings and start of it, is the SEC is getting involved in regulating crypto. And if they heavily regulate crypto and you start having all these things like Coinbase and all these different sites and stuff not allowing people that have independent wallets to trade publicly and sell publicly on their exchanges, you're going to see a huge drop to the value of cryptocurrency. And that's going to lower the profitability in places where people have to pay more than like 3 cents per kilowatt hour. And because of that, you're not going to see everybody buying up every GPU and mining because it's just not profitable enough. People are just going to mine on their ASICs and their old hardware that they had. So as long as it doesn't spike again and the SEC like really gives it a severe beating, which it looks like that's what's going to happen, you're probably GPUs will probably stay at a reasonable price. But if it spikes again and there's another freaking gold rush like there always is, everybody's going to run out and buy GPUs again. It's going to happen.
I'm cool.
So it just depends. Like if you right now though is probably not a bad time to buy a GPU. Like if you have the money and you're building a system or whatever, now is probably a good time to like get a GPU as close to retail as you're probably going to get it. And then just final topic we'll touch on really quick is just I wanted to tell you, because the Roe v. Wade thing is interesting. So Anonymous apparently went in and hacked the database of a menstruation app, where women are tracking their menstruation cycles or whatever online, because that could be a tip that, you know, a woman was pregnant and then isn't pregnant anymore by looking at that data and analyzing it.
Yeah.
And so they're worried that states are going to start looking at data like that because they want to start prosecuting people for murder and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the Anonymous went in and wiped the databases of these applications so that the data is only local on the phones or whatever that they typed in. It's not sunk to the database anymore.
Nice.
And so I thought that was really clever. And then the cool thing is Google, I think it's Google, and it might be Bing, are now going through and removing location data that's anywhere close to an abortion clinic.
Cool.
So if it records your location, because it does periodically, if you have like the Bing app open or you have the Google search app or you're on the Google webpage, it periodically stores your GPS location. And so now if that's anywhere close to an abortion clinic, they just won't log it.
Nice.
And so I thought that that's cool that they're doing that, because it's like all these companies and everything are finding ways to fight against this outside of the states. So when these states try to go to these, you know, draconian Handmaid's Tale, you know, thing that they're trying to go to, where the companies are trying to keep the data from being used to incriminate these people and to restrict these people. I think that's great. I think that's a fantastic way to fight back. And Anonymous is on it. These companies, like legitimate companies, now are blocking this data. And the cool thing is these companies operate in most of these companies operate in states that aren't going to have these crazy draconian laws. Yeah. So they're untouchable. There's no federal legislation and there's no state legislation that's going to stop them from doing this. So it's not like the states are going to be like, oh, we're going to pass a law that says that a company can't delete its data or has to disclose to the government if a woman has an abortion or attempts or even inquires about it. They don't have to follow any of those guidelines because they're not in a state that has that bullshit going on, and nobody's going to start a technology company in a state that's that fucking backwater. Yeah. So I think it's a good way to fight back against it for sure. All right, bro. I know you got to get out of here.
Yep, I gotta go.
So Les Atkinson, thank you for that. Subscribe to the channel again. I am thank you for that support. Mage Miner, Eric G, Histario. You guys have been awesome. Gaming Maddie rocks. Gimpy G. I am me, the ACP 127. I mean, you guys were awesome. Sim Inc., Data Doctors, Vista. It just goes on. You guys, thank you so much for the super chat support. We really do appreciate that. We'll see you again next week. Same bat time, same bat place here, 11 a.m. Pacific time on YouTube/Barnacules1. And if you'd like to see our independent streams when we're just kind of doing our own thing over on the Twitch, all the links are in the video description. And we do that during the week. You can go watch David Hewlett stream, AuxxZillary stream, and I stream on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday usually over on the Twitch. And we'll catch you guys next time. Thank you so much for hanging out. Peace. Oh, yeah. And Twitter. If you want to ask us anything, tag us on Twitter. Sorry, we're all social media addicted. So hit us up on Twitter and tag at Barnacules, at AuxxZillary, or at D Hewlett. And you can reach us all. All right. Peace out, guys. We'll see you next time.